good morning, everybody. Brock and Salk Show. Seattle Sports on 710, seattlesports.com, the Seattle Sports app, podcast platforms, and 97.3 FM HD2. I don't say that every morning. I should say that every morning. Why don't I do that? That's literally how I consume the station most, is on 97.3 HD2. That's my number one most common way of listening to the station. I never listen on AM. I hardly ever listen through, the .com, etc. I almost always consume the station by listening to 97.3 HD2. So if you have an HD radio in your car, you should be doing that. It sounds great, crystal clear, sounds perfect, sounds, high definition radio. That's the whole idea. So if you're not listening to it that way, and you can listen to it that way, you should do that. Much, much better way to listen to it.
Every time you bring it up, we get a text that's like, wow, good looking out. This is awesome.
I know nobody ever thinks about it, and it's on me. I take some of the responsibility. I should absolutely be advocating for it more, because it is awesome. It is, like, honestly, crystal clear, sounds as good as anything. The sound quality is significantly better than on AM. So if you want to go HD radio, 97.3 HD2. All right. The Mariners lost yesterday. You may know that already. You may be tuning in to hear about that. In fact, I've got 253 calling for jobs. We're probably not at that point yet, but here's a thought for this morning. We know about the big problems, the big things. They're pretty obvious, right? Through 6 games, the Mariners are 2-4, but they also have Tariq Skubal today, so they're staring 2-5 in the face. They've scored 15 runs while giving up 27. So despite being 2-4, which is great, well, it's not, but it's better than what they should be. The Pythagorean is going to have them at either 1-5 or potentially even 0-6. I'm not sure yet. I got to wait till Baseball Reference updates here in another, I don't know, I would hope in another couple minutes. But either way, 27-15, that's a negative 12 run differential after just 6 games. Not great. For all of the conversation about scoring runs in different ways, they've scored 9 of their 15 runs via the home run. 9 of their 15 runs have come via the home run. That despite not slugging much more than 300 on the season. They're hitting just 166. They have an OPS of just 582. So you know the big things, right? You can tell. You watch the team. You know what you're seeing. You understand the frustration. The offense that looks not just a little bit like it's looked in the past, but like exactly like it's looked in the past, with all of the same problems, with nearly 10 strikeouts per game, with major strikeouts in big moments. And the Luke Raley strikeout last night is probably the one I would point to. It came in a moment where he had an opportunity to completely change the game. Couple men on, 2 outs, early in the game, already down 2-0, and instead he strikes out. Whereas, even just a little single there, that conversation about just using the big part of the park and going the other way, that would have led to 2 runs. You tie up the game, and maybe it's different from there on out. Unfortunately, it doesn't go that way. He strikes out, and, you end up watching what feels like the same game you've seen over and over again. Situational hitting. I haven't personally seen a lot of evidence of using the big part of the ballpark, staying up the middle, going the other way. I haven't seen it. Doesn't mean it hasn't been there, but I haven't seen it. And honestly, they haven't had enough runners on at the right times to really get a sense to their aggressiveness. They've run when they can, but it hasn't started, really affecting the games to any great degree. So, yeah, 206, copy paste from last year. That's exactly what that looks like so far. But you know all that. You guys don't need me to come on and say all that. Maybe you haven't bothered to look up the stats, and that's what I'm here for, to spend a couple of minutes, on Baseball Reference or ESPN.com or whatever your favorite stat website is, just giving you a few of those numbers, because it would be weird if you were looking all of those up. But I got you. That 27-15 runs, 4 runs against is a tough one. And the fact that they're scoring 9 of their 15 runs via the home run is probably something you don't want, especially here at T-Mobile Park. So yeah, those are the obvious challenges as you watch the team, and you probably already know all of them. So I've probably wasted the last 5 minutes of your time. Sorry about that. I'll try to give you something else. You can take it what you will. I watched that game last night, and while I was, of course, like everybody, frustrated by the offense, it's not the thing that jumped out to me the most. Or at least it's not what bothered me the most. Yes, it's frustrating to lose to Casey Mize, but guy was what? Wasn't he 1-1? Number 1 overall pick. I mean, like, he hasn't delivered yet on being 1-1, but he was 1-1. He's obviously got good stuff, and he used it last night. He was really good. They were really bad. He was really good. Both those things happened at the same time. What bothered me maybe most of anything was the sloppy play. First inning. You got a man on second. Carpenter up. This is what happens.
So 1 on and 2 outs, no score. Here's Kerry Carpenter. Be careful with this guy. Great left-handed bat. Swinging a one-hopper into right field for a base hit. Green rounding third, heading home. Up the ball is Robles. The throw to the plate is going to be wide. Cal has to go get it. Goes off his glove. A run scores, and Carpenter winds up on its second base with a single. A run batted in. He'll take second on the throw to the plate.
It's the last part of that that's the most important. You're going to give up singles to Kerry Carpenter. He's good. He's a really good hitter. He's dominated the Mariners for sure, but he's a good hitter. Even Logan Gilbert, as good as he is, might give up a single in that spot to Kerry Carpenter. You know what you got to do? Keep him at first base. Why is Kerry Carpenter at second base now? Oh, because Victor Robles threw the ball nowhere near where he needed to, and it led to a runner on second. So guess what the next guy does? Does he need to hit a double to drive a runner in from first? Does he need to hit a home run in order to score the run? No, he can just hit another single.
Logan looks in as a sign from Cal. The 3-1 pitch, swinging a soft looper into shallow left field. That's going to drop in. Carpenter rounding third, heading home. Up with the ball to Rosarena. The throw to the plate, way up line. Cal has to go get it off his glove, out by the dugout. Carpenter will score. Colt Keith winds up on its second base.
Oh, God. Same thing. Now Randy's got the same problem as Victor. It's really hard to control hitting. Really hard. Hitting in baseball is incredibly difficult. Yes, the Mariners have made it seem even more difficult than that, but you can't largely control hitting. You can get better at it. You can try to maximize your performance, but it is to a certain extent outside your control because it's so hard. You don't control what the pitcher's doing, right? You don't control what happens after you hit the ball. Unless you've hit a home run, you're not in control of what happens next. So offense in baseball is, in some ways, if not largely, out of your control. You can get mad when it doesn't work out, but it's hard to get mad at the player. You can get mad at who's brought them in and how it's fine. But ultimately, the player's trying really hard. Baseball's hard, offense is hard, and you're not fully in control of your at-bats. You know what you are in control of? Throwing the ball. You're 100% in control of that. You're 100% in control of your decision-making. And to see Victor and then Randy both throw the ball wide like that in the first inning, give up the run, man. Okay, they score a run. Life goes on. But instead, you put the next guy in position and the next guy in position, so it's a whole lot easier for them to score multiple runs. Can't do that. That's within your control. You control where you throw it, and you can control how you throw it. Those are mental mistakes. Those are mental mistakes. And those are the things that'll drive me crazy. And those are the things that largely we haven't talked about over the course of the last however many years. I don't like the mental mistakes. The at-bats, all right, fine. I hate it, just like everybody else does. It is what it is. But you can control those plays. What if you get out of the first inning 1-0? Maybe the game goes differently, right? I mean, it's not like the Tigers are like worlds better than the Mariners, but they made good, smart plays. Whereas not only did you have difficulty hitting, you exacerbated the problem by making mental mistakes. That's the stuff that you can't have it. And poor Logan, he pitched pretty well. He wasn't perfect yesterday, God forbid, but he was good enough. And if you don't make a couple of those mistakes, maybe he gets out of that game. Maybe he makes it to the 6th inning. I don't know. Maybe he goes, 5 innings and only allows 2 runs, and you get a better. There's a lot of different things that can go differently if you play the game the right way. So, yeah, we can sit here and all complain about the hitting, and it's totally warranted, 100%. But the other thing is controllable by the players on the field. You got to be able to control that stuff. You can't have the mental mistakes because that stuff will just exacerbate the problem every time. And, yeah, now you got Skubal coming up, and maybe that was in their mind, right? Maybe they're thinking, okay, I got to be a hero because the offense isn't working, and Skubal's coming up tomorrow, and I got to go do the extra thing to win the game. Maybe. That's sort of the, and maybe that's because of the, 162 battles, and, we're going to come in hot in April right off the bat, and everything, we're going to take the world by storm. Maybe. Maybe it's a lackadaisical thing. We did hear a lot about how, the camp was much more relaxed, fewer meetings, etc. There are trade-offs to those things. Everything's got trade-offs, right? And this was one of the things that I told you right in spring training I was going to be looking for. Can you avoid the mental mistakes? Can you be as locked in and focused as they've been for the last 5 years? I didn't see that last night, and I think it really hurt them. We'll come right back with everything you need to know next. It's Brock and Salk, Seattle Sports on 710.
Seattle Sports, your home for Bump and Stacy. Weekdays 10 to 2.
Abe Luke is going to be the most important player on this offense. Why? Because when he is available and he is playing, him and Charles Cross are going to hold it down. It's all about keeping the band together. And the band has been split up a lot over the past couple of years, right? We saw rookies play tackle. We saw rookies play guard. But when Abe and Charles Cross are playing together, those bookends hold it down. It's Abe Lucas, man.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Lowe's knows that your business is built on speed and trust. That's why the Lowe's Pro Desk is here to get you what you need the moment you need it. We'll help you plan your project, calculate your materials, and pivot when your job takes an unexpected turn. And with our pro-only checkout and dedicated pro parking, you have what you need to tackle your job and be back on the job in no time. Just visit us at the Pro Desk. Lowe's knows pros. We help. You save.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today?
My car is making this noise. Sometimes it's like doot doot, and sometimes it's like grrrr.
Do you have a dash light on?
Oh yeah.
And we don't have to listen for clues. With the free Fix Finder service, we can read a check engine, ABS, or maintenance light to find the likely fix and even recommend a local shop if you need one.
So you don't need to hear the grrrr.
Not with Fix Finder. Free at every AutoZone.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation and a regular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduced stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop taking prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. It may increase your stroke risk. Eliquis can cause serious and in rare cases fatal bleeding. Don't take Eliquis if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or take longer for bleeding to stop. A spinal injection while on Eliquis increases risk of blood clots, which may cause paralysis, the inability to move. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding, unusual bruising, or tingling, numbness, or muscle weakness. Medications such as aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners may increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about all planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
March is here, and Toyota of Renton and Toyota of Kirkland have teamed up to take away your car buying madness. At Toyota of Kirkland and Toyota of Renton, they have the widest selection of new and certified used inventory and the largest savings in the region. Now that's a slam dunk. The all-star staff at Toyota of Renton and Kirkland will assist you with a test drive, and you can score that car the very same day. Come see for yourself or visit online at toyotaofrenton.com or toyotaofkirkland.com.
O'Brien. ZipRecruiter is the place. ZipRecruiter is the place for talented teachers, savvy software developers, and master mixologists. ZipRecruiter is the place where you meet all these people and more. That's because ZipRecruiter is the place for job seekers who are looking for new opportunities. In fact, ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day, so you can find the right candidates right away. It's no wonder that ZipRecruiter is the place for skilled skydiving instructors, accomplished airbrush artists, and proficient pediatricians. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter to hire, you're missing out. ZipRecruiter is the place that's so confident it can make your hiring easier that it lets you try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. So if you want the right candidates for all your roles, ZipRecruiter is the place to go. Try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
The noon hour of the Bump and Stacy Show is powered every day by the caring and compassionate team at Pendergast Law Personal Injury Lawyers. Go to PendergastLaw.com.
Comcast Business helps turn today's small businesses into engines of modern business. It's how restaurants become reliably up and running neighborhood favorites. How retailers become seamlessly restocking, cybersecurity must-visit shops. And how healthcare offices become the data managing caregivers that we all depend on. With reliable connectivity, enhanced cybersecurity, advanced fiber solutions, and Wi-Fi backup, Comcast Business is powering the engine of modern business. Powering possibilities.
Now through April 21st, new customers can get started with 150 megabit internet and security edge for $49.99 a month for 12 months with a 2-year agreement. Plus, ask how to get a $500 prepaid card on a qualifying internet package. Call today. Restrictions apply. Not available in all areas. Requires enrollment and paperless billing and automatic payments with bank account. Equipment, taxes, and other fees extra and subject to change. Early termination fee applies.
My wife and I have been married for over 15 years, and I've never had any complaints about my performance in the bedroom. But after I turned 40, things started feeling different. I was gaining weight, losing muscle, and I just wasn't interested in sex anymore. My wife told me her friend's husband went through the same thing, and it turns out he had low testosterone. So we booked a free T-check at Revive Health, and that's when I learned that my testosterone levels were low too. We worked with a provider to create a custom treatment plan, and today, my wife and I are having more fun than we did on our honeymoon. My only regret is not reaching out sooner.
If you're ready to book your free T-check, visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com or call 206-529-1111. Again, that's 206-529-1111.
Need to know.
15 minutes past every hour with Brock and Salk.
Here's what you need to know. Up first.
Another rough night for the Mariners. This time, more of what we've become accustomed to last year. The offense virtually non-existent. They did scratch out a run on a walk, wild pitch, ground out, and sac fly. But other than that, barely mounting a threat. Just one hit in the game. On the other side, Logan Gilbert, good. Not quite great, but good. He gave up 3 runs in his 5 innings. I know not quite what he was looking for. He wanted to get much deeper into that game.
I'm never going to ask to come out. I'm always going to fight for it, but they have the big picture in mind. I want to save the pen as much as I can. I felt like I was in a groove. I was going well. So if it wasn't second game of the season, I'm probably going back out there, but that's just how it goes when pitch count gets run up a little bit.
Yeah, and you got to be careful for the long term. You are still incredibly early, week 1 of this season, and Logan's got a lot of road ahead of him. But yeah, I'm sure frustrating for him. I know he would have wanted to save the pen after the tough start from Hancock the day before. Did strike out 10, though, in 5 innings. That's pretty impressive. One chance to avoid being swept. It's not going to be easy. Matinee game today, Luis Castillo trying to bounce back, and then the offense hoping to just muster something against reigning Cy Young Award winner Tariq Skubal.
Here's the second thing you need to know.
Series of roster moves before the game yesterday. Congratulations to Jorge Polanco. It's going to take a couple days with his wife to celebrate the birth of their child. Infielder Leo Rivas called up in his place. Miles Mastroboni actually got the start at third base. Now, color me a little bit surprised, though, at the way they handled the aftermath of the Hancock start. I figured there would be some move to get a long reliever up like Jonathan Diaz in case of emergency. I was expecting it to involve one of the relievers who went deeper than normal, maybe Taylor Saucedo, who does have options. Instead, it was Hancock himself who was sent down to make room for Diaz. Now, you could survive without a 5th starter, but they don't want to. They would rather start somebody and keep the extra days of rest. Fine. But Hancock now can't come back for 15 days, which means you're going to, if you don't want to skip starts, you're going to have to use either Diaz or probably call up Casey Lawrence to make a start, which doesn't make a ton of sense to me. Here's Dan's explanation.
We're going to bring Jonathan Diaz up for the bullpen help that we may need tonight. And it's a tough pill to swallow. There's no question about it. And Emerson had such a great spring and pitched with a lot of confidence, came here with a lot of confidence, and really just wanting him to go down and continue that confident route, continue to refine what he does. I think he's had a great mental approach, and his stuff has been really good. So just needs to continue to refine that.
So they must, again, hearing that sound, it's about Hancock more than it is about needing the arm. I got to tell you, that is surprising to me after just one start. But, hey, maybe they saw something. Maybe they felt something. Maybe he said something that didn't jive with what they were looking for confidence-wise. So they end up making what I think is a tough move to make. The roster announced yesterday for the high A team in Everett. It is as good as expected. Colt Emerson, Laz Montez, Michael Arroyo, Durangelo Cinche. Yeah, if you want to go see the Aqua Sox, it should be a lot of fun this season.
Here's the third thing you need to know.
The big debate over the tush push has been tabled until May. Sorry. We're not going to get to talk any more about the tush push for a while. The owners also did pass a change to the touchback rule on kickoffs. They're now going to come out all the way to the 35-yard line on a touchback. Nobody's going to want a touchback then. So I think you will see more runbacks than ever, or at least than we've had the last couple of seasons. Tom Telesco, former GM, agrees.
To me, the biggest thing that I've seen so far today on the different rule proposal changes is going to be the kickoff, with now having the touchback to the 35. So, as we saw this year, returns were up to almost 30%, but still a lot of teams had the philosophy just to kick it deep in the end zone, and we'll play defense from the 30. Now that comes out to the 35, I think you're going to see a majority of kicks come down in the field of play, which means almost every kickoff is going to be returned. And I think that's going to be a big difference. The teams that have really good kickoff returners, and probably at this point you're going to need more than one, that's going to be a big part of field position, and then covering kicks is going to be very important. So I think that's going to be a pretty major change as we look into next year.
Yeah, I think he's absolutely right about all of that. The return game and covering that game is going to become even more important. 35-yard line. Where do you need to get to for a legitimate field goal? The other, 35, maybe even less. Let's call it the other 40. That gets you a 57-yarder. That's pretty makeable in today's game. So you need to go 25 yards to get into field goal range. 25 yards on a touchback. That's crazy. 25 yards. Yeah, good. I think that's better. I like the sort of punishing effect of that and forcing teams to actually run kicks back. All right, that is everything you need to know. 15:15 every hour on the Brock and Salk Show. We got a lot of Jeff Passan yesterday. A lot. If you like when Jeff yells at me, you'll hear it. If you like a good debate on baseball, you'll hear it. Stick around. It's coming up next on Brock and Salk.
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Bob. Weekdays 2 to 7.
The Mariners making a move to lock up part of their core in Cal Raleigh. This is somebody you drafted, you developed, one of the great catchers in the game. You keep that guy around. He's a leader in the clubhouse. He's everything you'd want in a player. He's everything you'd hope when you draft a young player that they're going to turn into something close to this. And you got it.
Cal could probably get a lot more money on the open market, but he wants to stay here. I think Mariner fans are going to love him forever.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Cold out last night, and in this region, it's pretty common for a lot of houses to have damaged insulation or maybe even no insulation at all in their crawl space or their attic. It's why you call Crawl Pros, and you let them come out, take a look, see what's going on, because in the winter, you don't want the cold, drafty house, and in the summer months, you don't want it to turn into an oven, right? Plus, all that gets even more expensive for the utilities. Well, utility companies are going to help you out because they do have special incentives to help with the cost of having your home properly insulated. So if you are a Puget Sound Energy customer, you're going to like this. Up to 95% of the cost to properly insulate your crawl space and attic if your house was built before 1990. Yeah, up to 95% of the cost. So you really don't want to wait. Call Crawl Pros. Learn what's going on behind that crawl space or attic hatch for free. And then, of course, what energy rebates you might be eligible for. Don't take a risk. The best way to learn if you've got any issues is to call Crawl Pros and have them come do a free corner-to-corner inspection. So if you're worried about water damage, mold, insulation, critters, issues, anything else related to your crawl space fireplace or attic, call Crawl Pros or visit crawlpros.com.
We've all been there, sleepless nights, wondering if your business's security service is really protecting what matters. At Bay Alarm, we can put your security insecurities to bed. Our advanced technology and personalized support ensure you can rest easy knowing we're here for you. BayAlarm.com.
You've heard the saying, you never get a second chance to make a first impression. Since 1926, my family's been helping local businesses make great first, second, and long-term impressions. We know how to make your company look good with quality uniforms, logoed apparel, floor mats, linens, and more. If you're paying for linen service or doing it yourself, let's have the conversation. The information and quote are free, but the savings and service can really add up. Visit suplinen.com. Superior Linen Service. It's what we do.
Stream every Seattle sports show with the Seattle Sports app. Brought to you by Fred Hutchinson Cancer Center Proton Therapy. Get new videos, podcasts, and articles on the Seahawks and Mariners from your favorite Seattle sports personalities daily.
Progressive understands that bond between you and your boat. But imagine if something happened to it. Without the boat, you're just Tina with too much boat knowledge. Sure, it's helpful on the water, but with no boat, you're someone who talks way too much about knots, and no one cares what a jib is anyway. Boat Tina could get away with it because she has a boat. So make sure your boat is insured. Get Progressive, America's #1 boat insurer, and then go back to being you, Tina, who owns a boat. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. #1 rating based on boat market share data from ratefilings.com.
Hey, Green Gobbler here. So you've got a clogged drain in your bathroom. Water in the sink's overstaying its welcome. You're spitting today's toothpaste on top of yesterday's toothpaste. You hope that it go away. Yeah, clogs don't just go away. I make them go away. I'm Green Gobbler, the only clog dissolver you need. I'm bleach-free, safe for your pipes, and I work. Guaranteed or your money back. Because I never met a clog that was gonna unclog itself. Green Gobbler. Let the gobbler get it.
Bob Stelton here for Asset Roofing, and they have got the perfect slogan. You're either hiring a liability or you're hiring an asset, and I witnessed this firsthand when I met Anthony, the owner, and again when I had him do work on my roof. Now this spring, replace your aging roof with Asset Roofing because you're either hiring a liability or you're hiring an asset. Check them out at AssetRoofingCo.com. That's AssetRoofingCo.com.
Certified work that's never in doubt. Asset Roofing. Excellence is on the house.
We are Seattle Sports, the home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports.
Watch your favorite show live at seattlesports.com.
Hey, Brock Heward here, along with IRG Physical and Hand Therapy President and CEO Shannon O'Kelly. Well, the seasons, they're changing. The guys are playing the sports outdoors. I know many are starting to maybe pull the lawnmower out and get back to the landscape and the outdoor work. I'm going to guess, Shannon, at IRG, maybe a little busier season?
Oh, absolutely, Brock. You know, we know when the seasons change, particularly when it gets warmer, people are in their houses pretty much all winter long with our cold weather, rain, et cetera, particularly here in the Puget Sound, and everybody's excited. They want to rush out and get going with their activity. I'm telling you, as a physical therapist for 35 years here, you need to prepare your body. So take time to warm up, increase some flexibility, do some stretches, because if you prepare your body and prevent injuries, those activities outside, particularly that exciting thing, mowing your lawn, is going to be healthier and it's going to be a lot more fun.
And you feel better. For more info or to book your appointment today, simply go to irgpt.com. It's all waiting for you right there at irgpt.com.
Imagine finding your dream home and moving in right away. No waiting to sell your old place first. Sounds perfect, right? That's exactly what Orchard's Move First, Sell Later program lets you do. Buy your new home now and sell the old one later. Here's how it works. Orchard gives you cash so you can buy and move into your new home first on your timeline. No waiting, no showings, no double moves. Then the Orchard experts take it from there. They handle repairs on your old home and make price-boosting upgrades with no cost until close. Once they're done, a local Orchard agent lists and sells your home for top dollar. Orchard's Move First program gives you the freedom to buy and move into your new home first and sell your old home later. Buy before you sell and get top dollar for your home with Orchard. Ready to find out how much your home is worth? Visit Orchard.com to get your free home valuation. That's Orchard.com.
Brock and Salk's Rewind is presented by Toyota of Kirkland and Toyota of Renton.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio, you're listening to Brock and Salk.
Weekdays 6 to 10.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
There's so many good texts right now, bro. We'll get back to them a little bit later because we want to make sure we get all of our time with our guy, Jeff Passan of ESPN. He's back for another year of every single Tuesday joining us at 8:30. Good morning, Jeffrey. How are you? Happy baseball season to you.
Happy baseball season to you guys, too.
It's already over here. It's sad. It's over. It's already done. They're 2-3. The people have jumped off the bandwagon. It's already over, buddy. Let's start talking about the offseason 2026.
Mike Salk, the wet blanket, raining on parades, harsh and buzzes all day.
Yeah, I'm not doing that, obviously. I think I know better than to panic or read too much into 5 games. But when your lineup and roster are almost identical to how it was last year, can you read a little more into 5 games than you might otherwise?
No, just because guys progress year over year and guys change, and you're going to have ones who are better and you're going to have ones who regress. And it's too early to know at this point what that is. I mean, we can take away little clues and little signals, and maybe it's just noise, or maybe there's something there. But you guys know me. Like, Memorial Day is my line of demarcation, typically, as to what a team both is and can be. Numbers have stabilized at that point, and we have a sense of what we're dealing with and what progress is actually real and what might actually be a mirage of the first couple of weeks. So you want to get off to a good start. You want to be the Yankees going 3-0 and outscoring the Brewers 36-14 over the first 3 games. But the Yankees doing that doesn't tell me that they're going to win the American League East and dominate through the playoffs this year. It just shows that, hey, the ceiling of this team is pretty good, and we know that they can go on these jags where they're scoring 20 runs and, hitting 5, 6, 9 home runs a game.
Over these years, Jeffrey, thank you for being back yet again with us. And over these years, I think one thing that Salk and I have certainly appreciated, our audience has about you as well, is you dig into these numbers. You don't just kind of show up and turn the microphone on. You look at what the Mariners are doing. You look at kind of the next level and advanced stats and things that, stand out to Jeff Passan after all of these years. So when you're just a week into the season, did you even take a look at the stats of the Mariners for the first 5 games, or like truly you don't even pay any attention to it?
Oh, no, I definitely look at the numbers just to see if there are any trends worth following. And the one number to the Mariners stood out. The one number for the Mariners that stood out to me is 50. And that's 50 strikeouts and 149 at-bats. If this team is going to win, it just cannot strike out as much as it does. Like, that's a really simple thing. But I fear that because of the construction of this team, that's going to be hard. Like, guys tend not to cut their strikeout rates demonstrably year over year. That tends to be something that stays pretty static. And when you look at the best teams in baseball, they at least right now in the early going, they tend not to strike out very much. And let's look at strikeout leaders. The Washington Nationals, 32% of plate appearances. The Colorado Rockies, 31. The Red Sox, I believe, are 1-4 this year. They're at 29. The Braves are 0-5. They're at 29, and in 5th is the Seattle Mariners at 28.4% of plate appearances. That is not a number that is sustainable if you want to be a winning team.
You say it, Jeff, and again, we've argued about strikeouts since forever, but fine. What's interesting is when they've hit home runs, they've won, because home runs and walks have an tendency to mitigate some of those strikeout problems. But more interestingly to me is a lot of that was supposed to go away because of the approach. And we heard a lot about how Edgar Martinez was, able to get these guys with a different approach to not strike out so much. What's happening?
Baseball's hard. Like, you can take the approach that you want and you can prioritize strikeouts, but if you have swing and miss in your game, you're not going to wish cast it away. You're not going to say, hey, today I think I'm not going to strike out. It changes everything about your game when you start prioritizing things that you are not physically capable of doing. And, with a guy like Cal Raleigh, it's an okay trade-off because the power is there. It's just you can't have guys who don't have slug and do have high strikeouts.
But Jeff, Jeff, you and I were. I mean, here's why I'm going to sort of be difficult about this.
Be careful today, Jeff.
I know I'm on a heater.
He is on an elite smart heater.
You and I were arguing over text throughout the offseason about this a little bit and what needed to be done. And in my view, they needed to make some changes to the roster because betting on a hitting coach, changing your hitting problems didn't make a lot of sense to me. And here we are 5 games in, and I'm not going to look at just 5 games, but go figure. Having a different hitting coach is not changing the results markedly, and you agree with that. Why didn't they do different things in the offseason?
We're at that very weird juncture of this program where you're starting to get whiny when I agree with you. No, you're
It only took 6 minutes, Jeff.
Mike, you know the way your voice gets when you get on one. There's an extra octave in there that I didn't think you were going to start reaching. But you get all indignant and you say, dude, I agree with you. You are correct. You're right. When they say we're going to rely on our hitting coach, you know what that is? That's them not saying we wouldn't need to rely so much on our hitting coach if our owner had gone out and given us the money that he should have to go and get hitters in free agency who better represent what we're looking for.
I mean, you say the owner, but I watched the Detroit Tigers yesterday. They don't spend as much money as the Mariners do, and that lineup looked pretty good. I watched the A's lineup a couple weeks earlier in the week, and they spent almost no money, and their lineup looked better. Yeah. So it's not just the amount of money that's being spent. A lot of it has to do with the choices made by the people who are, buying the groceries, not making the right choices.
I think that there is certainly something to that, but I also think that it's context dependent. I got a call from a longtime evaluator who I respect deeply a day before the Mariners-Tigers series started. And he said, I have no idea how the Tigers are going to score runs. So, yes, you saw them just blasting Emerson Hancock last night. That might be more on Emerson Hancock than it is indicative that the Tigers have a good lineup. The A's, yes, their offense is better. They've gone out and made improvements, and a bit of that is internal, right? Bringing guys up. Tyler Soderstrom's gotten off to a great start, and he's a homegrown guy. Mm-hmm. And I don't know that we're going to be having these conversations 3 years down the road, because I don't think that Colt Emerson is going to have big issues with strikeouts. And I don't think Johnny Farmelo is going to have big issues with strikeouts. And Las Montez may, but, the hope is he's got 40 home runs in his bat as well. And so I think this next generation of Mariners hitters that's coming up right now is going to be a lot better in this respect. But it also, I think, is important, as you said, for the people who are running baseball operations day to day to look at this lineup right now, understand how its weaknesses are impeding the success of the present team, and bake that into future evaluation so that you don't run into the same problem again with the players who you are developing and who you do hope are going to be part of a homegrown core going forward.
Jeffrey, you got your computer pulled up in front of you?
Always.
Okay. Can you pull up Julio Rodriguez? And as you do, I am kind of curious because every day here in April, we do a draft preview and we play sound of the general manager of the Seahawks who says, I need a guy that can elevate everybody around him and just kind of lights up the room and just a difference maker. Julio is that kind of guy. Julio has struck out 7 times in, 21 at-bats this year? He's got 3 walks, 7 Ks.
21 plate appearances, yeah.
Yep, so he's right there above 30%. Can Julio Rodriguez be a star in this league? Can he get his jersey sold once again, which are not happening right now, if he strikes out 30-something% of the time?
It's really hard when you're at the 30% level to be a star. You have to be elite defensively. You have to slug the ball well, and you have to get on base. It's possible. It takes some batted ball luck because think about it this way with strikeouts. If you're striking out 30% of the time, that is just like out of every 10 at-bats that you have, that means 3 of them you're doing absolutely nothing productive. And so you now have 7 more plate appearances to go out there and do something. Strikeouts limit your ability to impact the game. So, yeah, because of Julio's glove and his legs and his power, he's got enough tools to still be a star, even if he does strike out at a high rate. But I don't know, man. I just look at the top of the leaderboards when it comes to wins above replacement, and I look at the strikeout rates among those guys, and it tells a story. Who was the best player in baseball last year? Aaron Judge, 24%. Bobby Witt Jr., 15%. Shohei Ohtani, 22%. Juan Soto, 17%. Gunnar Henderson, 22%. Francisco Lindor, 18%. Jarren Duran, 22%. Jose Ramirez, 12%. Best case scenario is that Julio Rodriguez is Ellie De La Cruz, who was a 6-win player last year with a 31% strikeout rate. The only other guys in the top 20, now we're going down to like top 30 of wins above replacement right now.
Wow.
On Fangraphs with more than a 25% strikeout rate. Brent Rooker at 28.8 and Cal Raleigh at 28.
Yeah.
And so,
we're going to get to Cal in a moment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can be a very effective player if you strike out a lot. It just cuts down your margin for error significantly.
Yeah, I think one thing I would say about the strikeouts is the types of strikeouts and the reason for the strikeouts, I think, may be important.
Mm-hmm.
Are you striking out because you're being incredibly patient and you're forcing the pitcher to throw a lot of pitches, so then generally both your walks and your strikeouts are going to be high? I think that's always been the trade-off I've been willing to accept of like, hey, that's sort of where the whole 3 true outcome thing comes from. But when you're striking out because you just keep swinging, that's a very different kind of strikeout. And I think that's the one that's been driving us crazy with Julio, is he's not being patient. The strikeouts are coming from swinging and missing, not because he's trying to wait for the best pitch.
Yeah, and the Mariners actually are a pretty darn patient team. I think they're 3rd in walk rate in MLB right now. So there is some balance to that. But you're right. Pitch recognition and swing decisions are so crucial to strikeouts. And, if that has been the emphasis of Edgar Martinez and that's the emphasis of Dan Wilson, and they just keep pounding it into guys' heads, they need to do a better job at that.
So you mentioned Cal.
It's not enough.
You mentioned Cal. Let's talk about him for a moment because he signed his big extension last week. You broke the news. Nice job by you, of course. And we spent a lot of time talking about it. A big question: why do you think this got done? Why did Cal sign? But also, let me steer you a little bit because of, you and I have talked about impending labor issues, et cetera, the chance for a lockout or maybe even a cap coming up. Could we see more guys signing deals like this now because they know there's a chance that when they actually come up for free agency, things will look very different?
I think this was position dependent because if you go and look historically at the free agent contracts signed by, I got a beep here from someone who I probably should pick up, but I'm not going to do that because I like you guys.
Are you sure? Why don't you can answer live? We'll just turn your mic down. Maybe not.
No, that's not. I don't think that's how it works.
No.
When you beep over, you guys can't still hear me, can you?
Well, you can do a 3-way call if you need to. I mean,
Yeah, I don't want to put this person in that position now.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, Rob Manfred. We take precedence. What can we tell you?
Sorry, Jerry. Justin. Sorry.
Yes, it's a big name. I think that when you look at what catchers have done in free agency, take JT Realmuto, for example. He, 5 years, I think $150 million. And he struggled to get that. Like, he was a free agent for a long time. Will Smith, 10 years, $140 million. That was a contract extension. I think that and Cal Raleigh's deal, which pays him significantly more average annual value at 6 years, $105 million, like they know that catchers are not as appreciated as they probably should be on the free agent market because there's fear about them aging. And so get your bag now. And I don't think Cal Raleigh gave up a whole lot in terms of value to get the deal that he got. Could he have made 20, 25 million more? Potentially, sure. But to lock in a 9-figure contract when your lifetime batting average is like 220 something, it's pretty great. And I think it's I'm not saying that this deal sways enormously in Cal Raleigh's favor. I think the Mariners had to do this. He's such an integral part of this team. And when you have a catcher who has the respect of the pitching staff that he does, who has the ability behind the plate, whether it's with his arm or with his glove, and framing pitches to impact the game on the defensive side, you want to send the message to people on the team and to people who are prospectively coming via free agency to Seattle that we have a rock-solid core here. We have Julio Rodriguez, who's one of the best center fielders in baseball. We have Cal Raleigh, who's one of the best catchers in baseball. That right there is a really good place to start and two really good guys to build around.
Jeffrey, professional question with a little bit of personal to this one, just kind of globally. Before I get to torpedo bats as well, but just kind of globally. Was it a week ago, Salk? We talked about the Minnesota Twins trying to sell. And, can they not get $1.7 billion?
$1.7 billion with $425 million worth of debt.
That was after the Celtics sold for $6.2 billion and everything else. So that's one. I looked yesterday, the A's, the Sacramento A's, have a Costco shed that they have built outside of the ballpark for their media. Really, really nice Costco shed. I look at what ESPN, has said to the league as well with some of the baseball rights and the package and everything else. Just kind of globally, big picture, and the looming, labor dispute maybe in a couple of years. You have a concern. Where's your concern meter for the game that we all love?
Yeah, it's really funny because I went on foul territory, I think it was last week, and was talking about how I think the game is in a good place, and people pushed back on that idea. And I wasn't specific enough. When I say the game's in a good place, I think the on-field product is really good. Mm-hmm. I think they're, in terms of like marketable stars, it's at the best place it's been in a long time. And Shohei Ohtani's at the forefront, but it goes beyond that. Like there are a lot of guys who are sort of penetrating the zeitgeist right now in baseball, and that is credit to the sport. Like the on-field product is really good, but there are questions of the sport's long-term viability with the Dodgers being as much of a machine as they are. And if Major League Baseball can try and go like la 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 la, but it's not going to drown out the sound of fans who are aggrieved at where the disparity in the game is right now financially. And that leads to discussions of the salary cap, which lead to discussions of a long lockout, which would be bad for everybody involved. So I think the two issues that are paramount, let's go three at this moment. Number one, labor peace. If baseball doesn't have labor peace, it is the most self-inflicted wound imaginable. Number two, television rights. And this ties into number three, which is financial disparity. Like, you need to listen to your fans. And even though I think a lot of them can be ignorant in terms of what the actual effect some of these financial disparities have on the game. Like, for example, a lot of fans make a big deal of deferred money. Deferred money is not a big deal. I get why people are mad about it, but that also means they don't understand it. Like, you still have to pay a large chunk of what guys are owed and put it in a bank account presently. Actually, you can do it 2 years after. But the point is, funding deferred money, you still got to fund it. You still got to put money away. So it's not like these teams are just passing the bill off to the future. It's not like the Dodgers are saying that, we're just going to throw everything 10 years down the road and that'll be someone else's problem. No, that's not how it works.
Well,
it's a tool that especially California-based teams can use because of the tax implications. Go ahead. You were going to say something.
Well, I'm just curious.
Are you an anti-deferral guy?
No, I'm not. I don't care about it one way or another. Honestly, I think you're right. But all of this to me, and I'm probably, there's a little confirmation bias in this for me. Not a huge surprise, but all of it to me comes back to the fact that I think there is going to have to be a salary cap. So if I'm deferring money, what does that mean for salary cap stuff down the road? Or I just think the Dodgers are setting themselves up for not just now, but the future.
I completely disagree with your premise, but I'm curious here. Why do you think there has to be a salary cap?
I think that everything you just said is leading to it. When I hear when we go through the price of teams versus the valuation on other teams and other sports, when we talk about the amount of money that's coming off of the income ledger with the death of the RSNs, when we talk about, as you just said, the fans and their anger about the disparity across the league, I think, and we know the owners have wanted this forever.
And every other league has it.
Every other league has it. The NFL and all the other leagues are, I mean, it just feels almost inevitable to me. And I know the players are going to battle like hell to keep it out of the game, but I just don't see how they avoid it. At some point, this is the only way. If I were Major League Baseball teams, I would be releasing my financials. Like, okay, here it is. I understand why the NFL doesn't do that because they don't want people to know how much money they're making. But if I was a baseball, the baseball money is all being made in terms of growth of the value. It's not being made in the day-to-day, as you know. So, release it. Here you go. We're not making enough money.
Mike, I think it depends on the franchise.
Fair point. Yes, you're right. But if you're the Minnesota Twins, release the financials. Show them whether or not you're making any money, and people might be surprised. And I wonder if that could sway even more public opinion to having a salary cap, which I think they are going to eventually have.
Mike, do you remember? It's funny you bring up the Twins specifically because back in the late 90s, early 2000s, the Twins did release their financials. They said, well, not the full books or anything, but they talked about how they were losing money, and it was not true.
Was that when they were going to contract the Twins because of the pullouts?
Exactly. They were saying we do not have a viable business model going forward. And here they are 25 years later with a beautiful new stadium and a franchise that's worth 10 times what it was back then.
Right.
So, and I think that is an important point to know because the playbook hasn't changed. They're still going to cry poor. They always cry poor. It's what owners do. The question that fans need to ask themselves when they're pushing for a salary cap, and in that, I don't know if you're pushing for it or suggesting that it's just an inevitability. Regardless, I think the question that needs to be asked is very simple. Does a salary cap solve the problems that Major League Baseball currently has?
Yeah, it's a good question, Jeff asked, and if you want to hear more of it, go listen to the rest of that interview. You can go to seattlesports.com or the Seattle Sports app and download it, listen to the whole thing. Yeah, salary floor has got to be a part of that. I don't even really know whether I'm advocating for it or not yet. I just think I really do believe it's an inevitability. I think it's going to happen. I think it almost is a fait accompli at this point. But lots still to come on that issue. In the meantime, specifically here in Seattle, yeah, you got some offensive problems. You've got a slow start. The team really up against it today. I mean, you got to now go out and beat the best pitcher in the American League in order to avoid starting 2-6. Who's most impacted by this slow start? Brock and I are going to discuss next on Brock and Salk.
Blue 88 on Brock and Salk.
How does the McDonald-Schneider tandem look like the Carroll-Schneider tandem in terms of figuring out who they want to have play here?
Every day at 7:45.
I think it's a little bit different, Salk, because certainly they both say the same thing. We want guys that love football, but the optics and the lens through which Pete Carroll looks at that and Mike McDonald look at that are different because their wiring is very, very different.
Blue 88, answering 3 football questions as only Brock Heward can.
Are you trying to buy a new home, or are you a local real estate agent seeking financing for a client? We're all tired of dealing with banks, credit unions, and endless guidelines. Wouldn't it be nice to go back in time when we had common sense lending? Hi, I'm Scott Riereka, CEO of Legacy Group Capital based in Bellevue. We are one of the largest local private portfolio lenders in Washington. We've helped thousands of home buyers and real estate investors reach their financial goals by leveraging the Legacy Common Sense borrowing platform. What that means is we lend our own money, we make our own decisions. If your deal makes sense, we'll get it done. Whether you're purchasing a new piece of real estate or refinancing an existing loan, bridge loans, construction, or regular home loan, it doesn't have to be as difficult as banks and lenders make it. If you're trying to grow wealth through real estate acquisition, come talk to the experts in private lending.
Call 425-635-4700 or LegacyG.com. Legacy Group Capital, your common sense lender. LegacyG.com.
Washington State ranks number 5 in the country for auto theft. The most high-risk vehicles are Kia, Hyundai, Ford F-150, F-250, and F-350. Help keep your car safe with these simple and important tips. Don't leave your car running unattended. Park in well-lit areas. Lock up every time. Keep valuables out of sight. Use an anti-theft device like a steering wheel lock. Share this information with friends and family. Prevent the theft and keep you and your vehicle safe. These tips brought to you by the Washington Auto Theft Prevention Authority.
Need a new roof now? With State Roofing and Exteriors, you can get started with 0 down, 0 payments, and 0 interest for up to 24 months. That's right. Protect your home now and pay later. Call 866-ROOF-ROOF or visit stateroofing.com today.
You never get a second chance to make a first impression. Superior Linen Service will help your company with logoed apparel, uniforms, floor mats, linen, and more. Give us a call. We answer the phone. Superior Linen Service. It's what we do. Visit suplinen.com.
Listen up, fellow Gen Xers. Elizabeth Banks here. The recommended age for pneumococcal pneumonia vaccination has been lowered to 50 and older, even if you're healthy. It's up to us to lead the way. We've done this before. Music videos, fanny packs, even the World Wide Web. Let's do it again and get vaccinated, because we're at over 6 times greater risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Gen X, this is our shot. Visit VaxAssist.com and schedule a vaccine today. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Whether you're tinkering in your garage or tackling big projects, if you know the value of working with your hands, you know Harbor Freight. And you can be confident knowing that at Harbor Freight, you can get quality tools at prices that work just as hard as you do. Because the only thing more satisfying than a job well done is a job well done, well under budget. Whatever you do it for less at Harbor Freight.
Hey, it's me, second base at T-Mobile Park. In my view, it's pretty sweet. I can see the big dumper flashing his platinum glove, firing a perfect throw right at me. Here comes the tag. Oh, got him.
Another strikeout throw out for Cal Raleigh.
Then there's Julio, stomping on me on his way to a stand-up triple. That dude is unreal.
Swinging a line drive, Julio round to third with a 2-out, 3-run triple.
And JP, smooth as silk, snaring line drives out of thin air.
And he takes a hit away.
Come check it out for yourself. There's nothing like being this close to the action. Although I'm still waiting to get invited to the wind dance. A base can dream. Mariners baseball. Trident's up.
Be here at T-Mobile Park next week for divisional showdowns against the Astros and Rangers. The Mariners are squaring off against Houston Monday, April 7th to Wednesday, April 9th, and Texas Friday, April 11th to Sunday, April 13th. Go to Mariners.com to lock in your seats and check out all the marquee matchups on deck at the ballpark.
Vivid Seats is your ultimate destination for basketball and hockey this season. With a game-changing rewards program and an unbeatable selection of tickets, they make it easy for every fan to watch their favorite teams and players in action. Catch every one-timer and buzzer-beating 3 live and in person from your favorite seat. Plus, every ticket is backed by a 100% buyer guarantee, giving you peace of mind with every purchase. Don't miss out. Visit VividSeats.com or download the app today. Vivid Seats, the official ticketing partner of ESPN.
Who's cutting down the nets this year? Get in on all the tournament action at ESPN Bet Sportsbook. Go from tracking the latest upsets to placing bets in just a few taps. Right now, new customers can get $100 in bonus bets when you make your first $10 wager. Download the ESPN Bet Sportsbook app and sign up with promo code USL to get started today. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details. Offer not available in New York.
Let's go!
This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports.
Give me a freaking auto!
From the Quantum Fiber Studio, this is Brock and Salk on Seattle Sports.
Brock Ewert is my hero.
Jay Buhner just punched me in the kidney.
We're going to accuse you of a minute.
Doesn't really work that way, Sherm. This is a show that has my name on it.
It kind of does, though.
Now here are your hosts, Brock Ewert and Mike Salk.
Hello! Man, you ask tough questions sometimes, Brock. I know that's what you get paid to do.
Mike, that's what I get paid to do. That's what I'll ask DJ in 90 minutes. So excited. I love saying DJ too. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, I do.
Because Don James, just like, the dog father, just love it.
Oh, that's
just
why. That hadn't dawned on me that was the reason.
Oh, it hasn't? Yeah, that just brings me
I don't think
back
I've
to
ever
my
heard
youth.
you even call Don James DJ.
Oh, that's what we all called him.
Really?
He's DJ. Oh, yes.
In
He was the dog
16
father
years,
of
I don't think
DJ.
I've ever heard you say that.
Well, that's okay. I'm just telling you that's where it comes from.
Okay.
DJ wasn't around when we were doing this.
No,
so
I know, but
that's
you've
where it comes
referred to
from.
him before, so I guess I was a little bit surprised.
So this is kind of the new DJ.
Man, you asked me a hard question, though. I mean, texting us last night, and I'm trying to. It's been, I don't know how many hours. I haven't come up with an answer to it yet. I don't know the answer to this question. I've been
You're going
working on
Lyle
it.
on me. Why are you going Lyle on me?
Because it's a hard question. I thought I thought I'd be able to do it by this morning. I slept on it. I tossed it over I still got nothing.
Okay.
Your question is, who is impacted most by the Mariners' slow start? And I assume you're looking for like one individual human.
Could be an individual human. Could be a collective.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you could point to ownership. You could point to the front office. You could point to the fans. You could point to
I was going to go
a
there.
coach. You could
Once you said
point
that,
to
the fans
player.
kind of stand out in my mind as maybe being the most impacted by it. I mean, just sort of reading the frustration. That might be my answer. But what did you have in mind?
Yeah, I think for me it's Julio, man. I think it's kind of Julio time. You know, I sent you guys that little picture the other day. He was not in the top 20 jersey sales, and you know this is a guy a couple years ago, right? That the Mariners signed to a 10-year deal. He becomes in many ways the face of baseball. He's everywhere. The All-Star game is in Seattle. All of this attention. He is Acuna. He is Vlad Jr. He is like the next great star in this game. You know, he's an MVP candidate. He's Ohtani. He's all of these things. And the poor guy has just struggled so mightily out the gate every April of his career. And he's come out of it. There's been a month of that kind of stardom. But, you know, as much as we talked about him, we didn't talk about him. We get down to spring training. You're actually around it. You realize, like, yeah, dude, this is your star. And your star needs to elevate. In the first at bat of the game, after Victor Robles has a nice hit, you can't come out and swing at, you know, an 0-2 pitch that's a foot off the plate and just give away an at bat. You know, the stars don't do that. Stars impact games, put their imprint on games. And out the gate here, 1 out of 6 games is not enough. Not enough for Julio Rodriguez for what the margin of error is for this team.
It's funny. I mean, if you didn't watch the games and you just looked at the numbers, Julio's got the second highest OPS on the team. Right? I mean, like, I'm not disagreeing necessarily with your point because watching the games, he has not affected them quite like that. But Jorge Polanco's gotten 1,000 OPS. Julio's second at 874. Randy's third at 860. Like, I mean, if he keeps up an 875 OPS all year, you'll be pretty happy with Julio. I mean, that's a pretty impressive number. I mean, some of that is he's got a home run.
But he's a star
got
on the
double.
offense of this team, and it needs to just impact the game, right? His individual numbers, if he ends this year at a 5 WAR, a 4.5 WAR, I don't know, because he can still bases and he can still run and play defense. But the impact on your team, the impact on this offense, enough is enough. I trust the people around me. I believe in the talent we are. I am the highest paid player on the team. I am the centerpiece. I am the star. And once again, we're out the gate 2-4 and losing homestands to begin the season.
Yeah.
And I think just naturally, when you're the star and you're the best player on the team, it's going to impact, and the finger is going to point, you know, on the field.
Yeah, I think it's a totally fair argument. I don't mean to argue it. I can't disagree with you. Other than that, I think it's sort of odd that the numbers kind of point to. If you only looked at the numbers, it would point to a different story. But we're not just looking at the numbers. You watch the games. You know the importance of the situations and when you come up and when you do damage versus when you don't. I mean, as we said, 2-4. The only thing keeping them right now from being 0-6 is 3 key home runs at the exact right spots, right? One from Julio, one from Polanco, and one from Randy. Those 3 moments are the only thing keeping them from starting this year 0-6 and facing Skubal today.
Yeah, Ty, we came home from Ty had a baseball game, frigid, absolutely frigid. Baseball shouldn't be played in like sub 30-degree wind chill weather. It's frigid.
No, it really shouldn't.
And we're sitting there watching the game, and I think it was early on, maybe the first runner on base or runner in scoring position, and Goldie's like, well, it's been a rough go, out the gate, something like 3 for 28, and I think Ty choked on his hamburger. Like, what did he just say? Like, they're what? Yeah, like they're situationally not hitting at all. And another 0 for last night. Not many cracks at it with just 1 hit on the whole night. But yeah, just not. No,
but you did have a chance, right? I mean, second inning was sort of your one chance to get something going. Men on second and third, and unfortunately, Luke Raley strikes out. And again, they struck out. I think it was only 7 times last night. It wasn't a double-digit strikeout night. But when you strike out is obviously very important, and not putting the ball in play there ends up being brutal. I'm trying to come up with other potential answers to your question. Is it Dan Wilson? Is it Jerry? Is it I don't know. I think the fans are really affected by it. Yeah. I think if I have to go with another person, maybe it's Dan because of the emphasis that was put on the start during spring training. And, I started the show with this at 6:00. Yes, there's obviously hours of conversation about the offense, understandably. Biggest problem I had last night was the 2 throws in the first inning that allowed the runner to go from first to second because you're trying to be a hero, both Victor and Randy, throwing the ball and so far offline. Brock, that's within your control.
Yes.
That's within your control.
And you know that this team you're playing,
Carpenter gets a hit, right?
That's their margin. That's how
right.
they take advantage. That's why they've won 8 of 9 against you. Like, they have done that. They've taken the extra base. They've done the little things right against you.
But when you have something within your control, you can't make the mental mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
Hitting is, while you are in control of your own bat, the act of hitting is not fully in your control, right? The pitcher is really good. Hitting is incredibly difficult, as Julio and everybody else have told us. Yeah. Even once you hit the ball, there is a level of out of your control. The Tigers have made some really nice defensive plays in this series so far. I mean, a lot of that is outside your control. But where you throw the ball and the mental decision of where you want to throw it is absolutely within your control. Mm-hmm. They could have limited that to 1 run in the first inning. Instead, they give up an extra run and then put themselves in a tough position for another one because of bad decisions and things that are within your control. Those are mental mistakes.
Yeah. You
can't afford that. You're not a good enough hitting team to afford that. The hitting is frustrating. Don't get me wrong. I don't say this to distract from it, but nobody listening to the show needs me to tell them that the Mariners have an offense problem.
They're hitting $166.
We all know that.
Yeah.
They're hitting $166 with an OPS of 582. And for all of the conversation about scoring in new ways, they've scored 9 of their 15 runs via the home run.
Mm-hmm.
They've given up 27 runs. They've scored just 15. They're 2-4 and facing Tariq. Nobody needs me to tell you that. You all know that.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you also were frustrated by the first inning, in which case I guess you could just ignore me and I'm just saying what everybody's saying today. But that was what jumped out to me yesterday. I can handle offensive struggles against a pitcher that was picked 1-1 a couple of years ago. I cannot deal with throwing the ball away twice and allowing extra runs to score because of it. Those are mental mistakes, and that is not something that anyone should have to sit through. That really drives me crazy.
Yeah, so I think Dan's probably way up there. And again, that's a leadership position. That's when you're the manager and you elevated the team in the final month of the season. And the last 6 months has been both through transactions and acquisitions, really played off of the last 6-7 weeks of the season. And you come out of the gate, and it's a rough go. You split a series with an A's team that is much, much younger than you, not as far along as you, and now you lose a series to Detroit at home and on the verge of possibly getting swept in that series. Mm-hmm. Not the kind of start you want is the new scale.
No, and then the next person I guess up that chain would be Jerry because of the bet on coaching and philosophy and just sort of the return to the mean that would fix things. And maybe it will. Again, it's only been 6 games. It's really hard to judge too much. And Jeff Passan was pretty adamant about that yesterday. But if the situational hitting is specifically the thing that is supposed to get better because of a different philosophy and different coaching and different metrics, and if that's not going to change, well, then I think you have to really question the talent that's here. And so, 6 games in, it's too early to really have that conversation, but who's impacted by the slow start? I think all of those are fair questions. So, all right, coming up, let's see, 7:30. We're just going to have fun today, Brock. We're just going to have some fun.
Good.
We're going to go in a totally different direction.
Good.
We're going to do that at 7:30.
You're going to like my profile at 8.
I can't wait for that.
We got the new DJ at 8:30.
We do. We got 360 says Salk, who cares about mental errors? One hit. I do. I care about mental errors. I care about them a lot. Yeah. I care about them more than I care about
1
the
for 26.
Yeah.
1 for 26.
That's not good.
1 for 26.
Yeah. Don't make mental errors. Those are outside, what's in your control versus what's outside your control.
Find a way to not get swept. Just find a way to not get swept.
Too. All right. Let's come back with everything you need to know next on Brock and Salk.
The John Schneider Show.
With Wyman and Bob.
Brought to you by Pizza Hut.
When you guys bring in free agents, then they leave and you don't sign them, probably unique to each one. But is it just something you learn in that conversation and you go, okay.
Yeah, a lot of different reasons. It could be medical, it could be personality, financial, how they're going to be a fit in the building, how much they love football, what kind of worker are they. There's a whole interview process that I don't want to give out, actually.
Hear the rest of this interview on demand at seattlesports.com and on the Seattle Sports YouTube page.
We've all been there. Sleepless nights, mind racing, wondering if your business's security service is really protecting what matters. At Bay Alarm, we can put your security insecurities to bed. Video security, burglar alarms, fire alarms, access control, 24/7 monitoring, and more. Our advanced technology and personalized support ensure you can rest easy, knowing we're here for you, your people, and your business. Visit bayalarm.com to talk to a local security expert. Bay Alarm, we got you.
Hey, baseball fans, Rick Riz here. I'm excited to introduce you to my good friend Keith Dashafy, owner of Pella Windows and Doors of Western Washington. Keith?
Thanks, Rick. At Pella Windows and Doors, we pride ourselves on delivering top-quality windows and doors that enhance the beauty and energy efficiency of your home. Our products are built to last with innovative designs and exceptional craftsmanship. Whether you're looking to upgrade your windows or install new doors, Pella has you covered.
That's fantastic, Keith. Don't wait. Schedule your free appointment today at PellaPNW.com.
Hey, Brock Ewart here, along with IRG Physical and Hand Therapy President and CEO Shannon O'Kelly. The weather is warming. The sports are moving outdoors, Shannon. Maybe time to take care of that lawn and pull the old lawnmower out. Is it a time where you get a little busier as the weather warms?
Oh, absolutely, Brock. What we know, particularly in the Puget Sound, we have these cold, wet winters. The weather changes, the sun comes out, and everybody wants to rush outside and do things. And I'm telling you, that's great, but you got to take time, listen to your body. You got to prepare your body for those activities. You don't want to go too fast, too soon. So warm up, stretch, make sure you have flexibility, a little bit of conditioning, because if you're conditioned and ready and prepared, those activities outside are going to be so much funner, if that makes sense. You're an athlete yourself, Brock. You know how important warming up is.
No, I like funner. I think they would tell you more fun, but I kind of like funner, and that's exactly what IRG is. For more info or to book your appointment today, simply go to irgpt.com. Remember, that's irgpt.com.
To me, the LJ way is to provide an experience that people really enjoy being a part of. And they enjoy being a part of it because they're getting great service. They're talking with somebody that actually they feel cares about them. They care about what their impression is going to be walking away. It's also understanding you're now part of our family, and thank you for doing the business with us. And this is how we're going to show our appreciation through customer service. We're going to show our appreciation with taking care of you if you ever have an issue. Majority of the people that are coming to see us are within our community. These are people who are providing maybe services that we also use in our community. So the LJ way, to me, somebody can come into a retail setting and not feel like they got to have their guard up. And that's been a long-standing thing in the car business that we've tried to shake.
The LJ way is the Lee Johnson Auto family.
Why choose Home Comfort Alliance? Because your comfort is their promise. Hey, it's John Curley. Home Comfort Alliance promises you reliable heating, air conditioning, plumbing, and electrical services, all from one company you can trust. So do what I did. Call the comfort people at Home Comfort Alliance for all your heating, cooling, plumbing, and electrical needs. Visit homecomfortalliance.com and tell them John Curley sent you. That's homecomfortalliance.com.
The John Schneider Show.
Every Thursday until draft day on Wyman and Bob.
Listen live Thursdays at 4 p.m. or watch the interviews on the Seattle Sports YouTube page.
They say teachers don't impact for a year, but for a lifetime. Hi, this is Rick Riz. Join WSECU, your local credit union, as we celebrate those who give so much with the Teacher of the Week program. Nominate a teacher you feel has changed a life in our community. Each week throughout the season, we'll honor one teacher with a $500 grant, courtesy of WSECU. Teachers are the real MVPs. Find out more and nominate a teacher at mynorthwest.com/teacher.
Bob Stelton here for Asset Roofing, and they have got the perfect slogan. You're either hiring a liability or you're hiring an asset, and I witnessed this firsthand when I met Anthony, the owner, and again when I had him do work on my roof. Now this spring, replace your aging roof with Asset Roofing because you're either hiring a liability or you're hiring an asset. Check them out at AssetRoofingCo.com. That's AssetRoofingCo.com.
Certified work that's never in doubt. Asset Roofing, excellence is on the house.
It's the World Fighting Championships at Emerald Queen Casino Event Center. Saturday night, May 10th. Experience the thrill of live MMA, boxing, Muay Thai, and kickboxing. Tickets at emeraldqueen.com. Don't miss this exciting mixed martial arts event. The World Fighting Championships, May 10th at Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest. 21 and older, need gambling help? Call 800-547-6133 or visit emeraldqueen.com.
The Mariners are all about giving you more baseball for your buck. With Mariners Value Games, you can score seats starting at $10 on select dates all season long. Plus, be sure to check out the expanded Mariners Value Menu. Available every game and featuring 14 items, all under $5. Enjoy ballpark classics like hot dogs and nachos, new treats like Pocky Sticks and Little Bites mini muffins, and more. Go to mariners.com/value to grab your value game tickets and check out the full slate of value options at T-Mobile Park.
Need to know.
15 minutes past every hour with Brock and Salk.
Here's what you need to know. Up first.
Yeah, rough night for the Mariners all the way around. This time, a lot more of what we've become accustomed to last year. The offense, virtually non-existent. They scratched out a run on a walk, a wild pitch, a ground out, and a sac fly. But other than that, barely mounted a threat, just one hit in the game. And, yeah, it just felt helpless.
Here's the 3-1 pitch, swinging a ground ball right to the second baseman, Keith. He's got it, throws the first in time to get Mastrobuoni. That is 14 in a row, set down by Tiger starter Casey Mize.
Yeah, 14 in a row is not what you're looking for. Dan Wilson tipping the cap.
Yeah, I mean, he seemed to be moving it around, and the location was pretty good tonight, and just kept us from mounting anything. You know, we did, again, hit a couple balls hard at timely times, or at timely points in the game. You know, they were able to make a play and kind of shut things down. But, yeah, I mean, we just weren't able to get much going offensively.
And that's been a largely consistent theme through, unfortunately, this opening homestand. You know, and I think for the Mariner fan that's frustrated out there, that wants, wants this team to take the next steps, and wanted to believe that this was going to look different, it was going to feel different, and most importantly, it was going to execute differently. Just out the gate, very small sample size, but the first 6 games, and now Tarek Skubal this afternoon in the matinee, this is not the way you want to kickstart this season.
No, not at all. Logan Gilbert, good, not quite great last night. Gave up 3 runs in the 5 innings. Again, they could have limited some of that with some better mental decision-making in the outfield. Wasn't the runs. I'm sure he wanted to go deeper into the game, right? Just one night after the 2-out start by Emerson Hancock. He did strike out 10. He still looks great, but unfortunately only goes 5.
Detroit's pretty good, man. They're pretty patient up there. They make you earn it. Riley Green is a difference maker. That dude stays healthy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he might be one of these other stars added to some other stars in this league, because he's a pretty special talent, dude. We talked about him last year, and obviously a little banged up, and teams just don't trade these young special bats because they are hard to find.
Here's the second thing you need to know.
Busy day before the game. Roster moves. Jorge Polanco, congratulations to him and his family. He's going to take a couple days off to celebrate the birth of their child. Infielder Leo Rivas called up in his place, and then Miles Mastroboni got the start at third base. A little more surprised, though, by the way they handled the aftermath of the Hancock start. I did assume there would be some sort of move to get another reliever up in case of emergency and just to have a fresh arm. But I honestly assumed it would be Taylor Sacedo sent back down in order to, call him back up in 2 weeks and bring up another reliever, maybe Diaz as they did. But to send down Hancock was pretty surprising to me. It means he can't come back for 2 weeks, 15 days. He's got to be down in AAA. So that means you got to call somebody else up or use Jonathan Diaz to make those next start or two. I'm pretty surprised by that. This was Dan Wilson's explanation. Hold on, here it is. That's not it. Wait, I moved it. I'm sorry. Here it is.
We're going to bring Jonathan Diaz up for the bullpen help that we may need tonight. And it's a tough pill to swallow. There's no question about it. And Emerson had such a great spring and pitched with a lot of confidence, came here with a lot of confidence, and really just wanting him to go down and continue that confident route, continue to refine what he does. I think he's had a great mental approach, and his stuff has been really good. So just needs to continue to refine that.
So when I hear that to me is much more of an Emerson Hancock issue rather than a roster issue, which after one start feels a little surprising to me.
Right. So he can't come back up. They have some off days, so they're able to kind of move things around. If you were just to listen to that on the surface, you'd say, well, you want to keep him in rhythm and you want to keep him on schedule. But you're saying
it sounds
because
like
of this,
they don't want to move guys around. They want to give everyone the extra days off when they can early in the season.
Mm-hmm.
And, the way baseball rules work, if you get sent down as a pitcher, you can't come back for 15 days unless there's an injury. So that's...
So Casey Lawrence or
Jonathan Diaz going to end up getting a start instead of Emerson Hancock. I know he didn't pitch well in that start, but that feels like a bit of a surprise reaction. So I am curious to know what it is that they saw that was, more damaging than just having a bad start, because obviously that's a big issue.
Here's the third thing you need to know.
Brock, the tush push has been tabled. Sorry. I'm not making a decision.
They'll
on
get
it
together
right now.
back in May. They'll get to. I understand it was like 16-16.
Yeah, Roger Goodell will have to do a little bit of
negotiating.
lobbying.
Yeah.
There are safety issues that are being considered in that case. We have very little data from it, but it's beyond data. There's also, there's the mechanism of injury that we study, that type of thing that leads us to show the risk involved with a particular play or particular tackle. So those are things that we did discuss. I do think there's a lot of discussion about going back to the previous rule, back to pre-2004. The reality of it is I think that's makes a lot of sense in many ways, because I think it expands it beyond just that single play.
All right, so once Goodell speaks like that, you kind of know what's coming, right?
Yeah, there just was not, to Brady's point yesterday when he joined us from down there, there's not a lot of data. You got, if you're going to kind of make a case and you want a law change or regulation made, or in this case a rule in the NFL, okay, where's your numbers? Where's your data? Well, we don't really have any on the injury side of it. Now, if guys do what Washington did in the playoff game and just continue to try to anticipate, and like Frankie Louvu just jumping over the pile, obviously like Jimmy Superfly, was it Snuka? Yep, jumping off the top rope like he was trying to do and have a midair collision, that's probably going to lead to some issues and some challenges. So you kind of understand why there's some debate here. But yeah, I think you get a sense in listening to Mr. Goodell where this thing may eventually be leaning in a couple months.
All right, there you go. That is everything you need to know. 1/4 to every hour here on the Brock and Salk Show.
Can I ask a question really quick?
Maura, you're always allowed to ask any question you want.
Yeah.
Why does Brock say stars so aggressively?
He might be one of these other stars added to some other stars in this league. Yeah, it's probably the little Chris Peterson
It's that
influence
Chris
in my
Peterson
life.
thing.
Yeah,
I think it's just once that's in Brock's head, he can't let it go.
Maura, that left a strong imprint in me.
I can
Star.
tell.
Are we talking about stars?
Yeah, I mean clearly
You
that.
almost say it like you're disgusted by the word.
Well, I think that's how Chris Peterson said it, right? And I think because of that, it's just sort of
left its mark.
Just kind of stuck with Brock. I should probably play that so people know what we're talking about.
Yeah, it was years ago. It was years ago, Maura. It was a recruiting trail. It's Chris Peterson.
Stars? Is that another joke question? Yeah, I'm really impressed with a lot of their stars.
Yeah, that's probably where, Maura.
That's probably why
where
it comes
So are
from.
you insulting people when you say stars?
No, I don't know. Yeah. Don't make me overthink, Maura, please. Especially now.
Don't make him think. Even really, that would be that might be a stretch. It might
Don't
hurt
think,
his head.
just react. Don't think, just react.
I don't
Just
know.
play.
Well, if you think up there, you're dead. Today's a Top Gun day, right? Since poor Val passed away yesterday. So if you think up there, Brock, you're dead, as I think you know. Daniel Jeremiah will think for us in a half hour. We've got some Which Is Better next. It's Brock and Salk, Seattle Sports on 710 and the Seattle Sports app.
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Bob. Weekdays 2 to 7.
We got Charlie Furbush in studio with us.
Logan Gilbert is like my spirit animal. How he pitches, how he attacks hitters, and right there behind him is Bryce Miller. I mean, when you look at an actual pitch, they both have this splitter now that is just incredibly effective. I was always jealous of guys that could throw that pitch because it really acts like a fastball a lot of ways, and then it comes in and drops off the table.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
All right, guys, summer, it's still a little ways away, but it's not too early to start thinking about the summer concert series at Snoqualmie Casino. Hanson, Austin Jenks, Melanie Fiona, POD, all this summer overlooking the beautiful Snoqualmie Valley. You can get tickets and details at snocasino.com. You know Seattle's closest. It's now Snoqualmie Casino and Hotel.
For over 113 years, Pacific Lamp and Supply Company has been your #1 lighting specialist in Washington, from the Space Needle in Seattle all the way to the Riverwalk in Spokane. With the largest lighting inventory in Washington, Pacific Lamp's knowledgeable and experienced staff can assist with any lighting issue, including intricate lighting and control designs. Plus, they work with all utilities in Washington to get you the best available lighting rebates. Pacific Lamp and Supply Company, Washington's lighting experts since 1912. Visit pacificlamp.com.
Vivid Seats is your ultimate destination for basketball and hockey this season. With a game-changing rewards program and an unbeatable selection of tickets, they make it easy for every fan to watch their favorite teams and players in action. Catch every one-timer and buzzer-beating 3 live and in person from your favorite seat. Plus, every ticket is backed by a 100% buyer guarantee, giving you peace of mind with every purchase. Don't miss out. Visit vividseats.com or download the app today. Vivid Seats, the official ticketing partner of ESPN.
Hey there, I'm Jack.
And I'm Stag.
We're just two deer that want to make sure you know it's deer season at your authorized John Deere dealer. The deer season that saves bucks. You know, like us.
Yeah, you can get $3,000 off select John Deere machines. No early wake-up calls or tree stands required.
Just a trip to your authorized dealer before June 2nd.
If you ask us, it's the only deer season worth celebrating.
Visit johndeere.com/deer season to find an authorized dealer and for complete finance details.
Oh, by the way, Ivan's no longer on the project. His wife got a new job, so they're moving across the country.
Robin's top researcher is deviating to a new market. This isn't standard.
And now we're short-staffed. Who's going to finish all these projects?
She needs a cluster of new data analysts, and there's no margin for error.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Put our matching platform to work so you can spend less time searching and more time connecting with talented candidates. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Who's cutting down the nets this year? Get in on all the tournament action at ESPN Bet Sportsbook. Go from tracking the latest upsets to placing bets in just a few taps. Right now, new customers can get $100 in bonus bets when you make your first $10 wager. Download the ESPN Bet Sportsbook app and sign up with promo code USL to get started today. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details. Offer not available in New York.
Your new beginning starts now. D.R. Horton has new construction homes available throughout the greater Seattle area. With spacious floor plans, flexible living spaces, and home technology packages, you can enjoy more cozy moments and sweet memories in your beautiful new home. With new home communities opening throughout the Seattle area, D.R. Horton has the ideal home for you. Visit drhorton.com to learn more. D.R. Horton, America's builder. an equal housing opportunity builder.
Subscribe to the Seattle Sports YouTube page to find new and exclusive content from your favorite shows and personalities daily. Just head to YouTube, search Seattle Sports, and click subscribe.
Need a new roof but not in the budget? A new roof doesn't have to break the bank. Justin Shirley, CEO of State Roofing and Exteriors here. Right now, State Roofing and Exteriors is offering 0 down, 0 payments, and 0 interest for up to 24 months. That's 2 years with no payments while getting the protection your home deserves. But this offer won't last forever. Call 866-ROOF-ROOF or visit stateroofing.com today to get on our summer schedule now. State Roofing and Exteriors, held to a higher standard since 1968.
March is here, and Toyota of Renton and Toyota of Kirkland have teamed up to take away your car buying madness. At Toyota of Kirkland and Toyota of Renton, they have the widest selection of new and certified used inventory and the largest savings in the region. Now that's a slam dunk. The all-star staff at Toyota of Renton and Kirkland will assist you with a test drive, and you can score that car the very same day. Come see for yourself or visit online at toyotaofrenton.com or toyotaofkirkland.com.
Hey, Brock Heward here, along with IRG Physical and Hand Therapy President and CEO Shannon O'Kelly. Now, Shannon, I need to ask you if what I've been hearing is true. You don't need a referral, really, to see a physical therapist in the state of Washington?
That's exactly right, Brock. The state of Washington is a state that has what's called direct access. That means that if you get up in the morning, for example, and you hurt your back or did something to your muscles or tendons or joints, you can call a physical therapist directly, and we can get you in that same day and start your care and your recovery process.
How can patients get scheduled with IRG?
Oh, it's easy. You just contact us at irgpt.com. We'll direct you to our concierge service, and we'll take care of all that for you. We handle all the authorization, verification. We want our patients to understand their insurance benefits and what the outcomes are going to be with their visit to IRG Physical and Hand Therapy.
Please, please, please don't let injuries keep you from your passion. Schedule online today at irgpt.com and start the journey back to your best self.
This hour of the Brock and Salk Show is powered by Star Rentals, preferred supplier to the West's best contractors.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio, you're listening to Brock and Salk.
Weekdays 6 to 10.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
An hour away from Daniel Jeremiah as the NFL draft approaches. What are we at now? 4 weeks? Not even? Closer to 3 weeks, right?
What is today? The second?
Today's the second.
Yeah, 3 weeks from 3 weeks from tomorrow.
Thursday. Wow, 3 weeks from tomorrow. NFL draft. Crazy. Inside of 4 weeks. So we'll have DJ each of the next few Wednesdays leading up to and through the draft and get his take on what's going on, where the Seahawks are at, where the draft is at in general. Obviously, some baseball conversation throughout the morning as well. Right now, though, let's play just a fun game. It's a hard game. It's a complicated game, Brock, but I think that we can do it today. I think we've got the ability to handle ourselves. Let's play some Which is Better. All right, I got a lot of questions today for Which is Better.
You know which is better, by the way? Daniel Jeremiah's 6-0 Padres or the Seattle Mariners 2-4 start?
Which is better?
Yeah, which is better?
Oh, I'd rather be 2-4.
Would you?
Yeah, I would say so.
Little grit.
Yeah, 2-4 gives you an opportunity for growth. From at 6-0, all you can do is go down from there.
Gosh, DJ's going to come on so cocky about his Padres.
And they just signed Jackson Merrill to a huge deal this morning.
Oh, did they? Nice. Okay. You know who's playing well for them? They're stars.
Yeah.
Stars.
Yeah.
Tatis, Machado, stars.
Yeah.
Merrill, star.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd rather be 2-4. I mean, think about the growth potential. Brock, at 6-0,
there's only one way to go.
There's only one way to go. All you can do is lose.
Yep.
Well, you're not going to go 162-0. So your record is almost definitely going to end up with a worse percentage than it is right now.
Yep.
Which means, disaster ahead for the Padres. Much rather be 2-4. Much rather. All right, which is better, Lyle? OPS plus or WRC plus?
Do you want me to nerd out about this?
I don't. You can.
Sure.
I want you to answer the question.
Don't overthink
Which is better, OPS plus or WRC plus?
Oh, that was the first question you guys asked him today, and he didn't give it a straight answer.
Of course not.
WRC plus.
How come?
Because WRC plus measures it based on WOBA, on weighted on base average. That's where the W in the WRC plus comes from, which is a little more specific and like definite than OPS plus, which measures things on OPS.
Okay.
Do any of these numbers, really dumb question, I apologize, Do any of these numbers really factor in when these moments are? I know there's some quote-unquote clutch stats for 6th inning or later, but like when, with the importance of the magnitude of the game in that moment, like, are any of them retroactive, looking back at that game going, wow, that at bat, got to wait that one a little more, second and third, you got to deliver. Is there a metric out there that is intuitive enough to measure like when? No, it's not possible.
There's late game averages and OPS and stuff like that.
RBI, I think. That's what you use for that. Just look at how many runs batted in you have over the course of the season.
Perfect.
Which is better, Lou Piniella or George Karl?
Ooh.
Both before my time here.
Yeah. I mean, George took us to an NBA title games against old Michael Jordan's Bulls and played them actually pretty tough. Man, that is a tough one.
I mean, Piniella ripping bases out and stuff is pretty fun.
I assumed the answer would be pretty simple on Piniella, but thought I'd throw it out there for the Seattle natives.
Well, you heard Gary Payton on the broadcast last night, and Goldie did such an awesome job.
That's what made me think of it.
Yeah. George won a lot of games. They were so good for a lot of years.
We've had him on. He's still fighting to get the Sonics back here.
Yep.
Oof, that's kind of like two brothers that you love right there.
I know. Well,
and Lou's kind of big bossy brother, but
right.
George was like little scrappy brother.
So what's your answer?
Which is better? Ultimately, I'll say Lou.
I had a feeling.
Yeah, but it's a very, very 51-49.
Yeah, that's all right.
I love Georgie.
I had a feeling it'd be Lou.
You got me some good tickets to games illegally back in the day.
Oh,
okay,
that's nice.
Yep.
Push. Which is better, Tyler Booker or Gray Zabel? Two potential interior offensive linemen for the Seahawks this year.
Can you ask DJ that? Can you put that on your little?
I will, but I'm asking you.
Don't
I think the versatility of Gray Zabel. I'll say Gray Zabel. I think there's a higher ceiling to Booker because that just power is so unique.
Versatility.
Sure.
Don't give me versatility. Tell me, get the better player. Who's the better player?
Well, one guy can play guard and center, Salk, and one guy can only play guard.
I don't care.
Hey, you're
Really?
overthinking. You won't answer the question.
Huh?
I don't care.
I'll go Gray Zabel. I like a 37.5-inch vert out of a 6'6", 300-pound man, and I like what he did down at the Senior Bowl as well. But if it's Mr. Booker, you will not hear me in any way denigrate that pick, nor his athleticism.
Salk, are you saying you want more of a master of the trade, or instead of jack of all trades?
A master of one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is that Tyler Booker over Gray Zabel then, or no?
I think Brock still wants. I'm going to defer to Brock, who tells me who's better.
Yeah,
but I just want a good reason. Based on your reasoning right now, I feel like I'd prefer Tyler Booker.
I just told you a 6'6", 310 man jumping 37 inches is pretty
but it took
rare.
you a while to get there, and there was a whole
because
bunch
they're
of
both great players, just like the previous question. I mean,
if I put
which is better, Avery or Cecily? Which is better, Avery or Cecily?
At what?
Life.
Right now?
Need
Avery.
a daughter.
Avery's better. I asked Cecily to put away her suitcase 2 nights ago. I said, if you don't do it by the next day, there's going to be a consequence. Did she do it? No. So when I went in to say goodnight to her, did I step on her suitcase, which was on the floor, nearly fall over and hurt myself? Yes. So Avery's better, pretty easily.
Which is better, Larry or Jane?
To talk to on the phone? Depends what you're... To cook dinner? I mean, like, now you're talking about a matter of degrees.
Right.
Cecily, you know what happened to me yesterday? I had a full-on America's Funniest Home Video dad moment. It was awful.
When you tripped over the suitcase?
Oh, no.
Oh.
Working with Cecily in the basement on her shooting, hockey shooting, and like trying to get the flex of the stick to really do a lot of the work. And then we got a little goal down there. She's using like a wiffle ball, like almost like a pickleball. No, like a pickleball.
Okay.
And I was standing on the other side of the goal, which is short.
Oh.
And she had the hardest shot she's ever had. And I did not get my hands there in time.
Right in the manhood.
Brock, direct hit coming up from the ground. I thought something had shattered. I was lying on the ground. If you could have heard me.
And tell me she was laughing, I hope.
No. I think I was yelling loud enough. And,
really?
And I went down on the ground in pain. You know who laughed? Heather, when she came downstairs. Like, once she realized I was alive, she's like, oh, ha, ha, ha. Like, thanks.
You get lightheaded in a hurry, don't you?
I mean, it goes all the way up into the stomach. I mean, it hurts so much.
Yeah, a couple times in the pile, it was painful.
That is the worst. It really is just the worst.
Yep.
Which is better, Eugenio Suarez or Kyle Tucker?
Are they both off to good starts?
Eugenio's got 5 home runs. Tucker's got 4.
Okay.
Streets are talking. Streets are talking.
Do you know what I understand?
I've been making my way around some conversations.
Yeah.
Mariners may be making some phone calls. Oh wait, it's not April Fool's Day anymore.
Oh,
well, they still may be making some phone calls for Kyle Tucker.
Do you know what I understand?
Maybe I'm just gonna scoop him on that.
Maybe
while he's off. I mean, he's not leaving the beat. He's taking a sabbatical. But yeah.
Do you know what I come to understand with a lot of confidence? Eugenio was almost a Mariner again.
Yeah.
He was so bad in Arizona, they were about to release him last year. Do you know that?
Did I know that?
Yeah. I got further confirmation of that this spring. I was having some other conversations, Salky.
Okay.
So I know you brought that up last year.
I mean,
but just to further confirm that.
I told you about it.
No, I know, but I got further confirmation is what I'm saying.
Okay.
I went a little deeper than just the Salky on that one. He was nearly a Mariner again. That's how bad he was the first couple months of last year.
He was 1 or 2 games away from being released, and then the kid who was in AAA got hurt.
Yep.
And yeah, no, I've heard that story.
There's the rest of the story.
Yeah, unfortunately, that one didn't go well. It does show you some of the margin for error in the "this is baseball" element of it. But hey, you get paid to be right, and unfortunately, that Suarez thing is a killer.
Eugenio's better. He's more fun.
No, I'm going with Kyle Tucker every day of the week.
Kyle Tucker's better.
Was it Eugenio that was drinking the beers in the hot tub that we were waiting on for the interview?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Eugenio.
Kyle Tucker really needs to be a Mariner at some point.
Which is better, bowling or mini golf?
I'll say mini golf.
I'll say bowling. Mini golf's overrated, man.
Mini golf is dependent upon temperature, course, people you're with.
Right.
Bowling is not as dependent on those factors.
Too much out of your
around you.
control with mini golf?
Yeah, too much out of your control. I mean, Parkland putters back in the day, pretty cool. Kind of ahead of its time. Don't know if it still is. It's pretty gray and rainy and wet. Not a lot of fun from like February to June. So, yeah, I'm gonna say bowling. I'm gonna go bowling on it. You know what I was really good at? I'm never great at the American bowling, but up there in Canada where you just were, so they got the little smaller ball and the smaller pins.
Duck pin?
I was good
duck pin
at
or
that.
candle pin?
I don't remember what they were, but the ball was much smaller.
Right.
And the pins were much smaller.
Shorter or thinner?
Thinner.
Yeah, that's candle pin. That's what they have back east. That's what I grew up doing.
I was good at that.
I had never what we refer to in Boston as big ball bowling. Everyone else just calls it bowling. I went to college for the first time. I went bowling, and I was like, "Oh, cool! Like you guys do big ball bowling, huh?" And they're like, "What?" And I was like, "Why? Why do you only get 2 shots? Because in candlepins you get 3." Super confusing.
Yeah,
I didn't realize that was a thing.
By the way, speaking of Boston, you know what the Hewitt family did when Haley and Macy were both home Saturday night after spending some time in Boston the week before? You know what we put on the old television? 1997. Goodwill
Hunting? Oh, yeah. Saw my friend Allie Folland in that
And you know
movie.
what? Goodwill Hunting still plays in
Yeah.
2025.
Great movie.
Lyle, you seen Goodwill Hunting?
Nope.
What?
No.
Oh, my gosh. You're the worst. Which is better, a bobblehead or a Funko Pop?
The bobblehead.
Really?
Can do way more with it, yes.
What can you do with either of them other than throw them in the trash?
Oh, think of all the bobbleheads that are sitting there in the studio. You got like lampshade bobbleheads.
But there's Funko Pops in there too.
Yeah, and the Funko Pops are just a big blockhead. There's very little you could do in the design of a Funko.
Oh, in the design. I thought you meant once you own it.
No, the design.
Because I was trying to figure out all the different things you could do with a doll that you own.
No. Just the look of it, the design.
Strangest damn thing I've ever seen. Grown adults collecting dolls that they get at the ballpark. Never seen anything like it. Totally bizarre. Hey, how's your doll collection?
I mean, you're not allowed to talk. You said you wouldn't even display like an autograph given to you by your favorite player.
I would
you
not.
just don't like memorabilia.
I don't, but I also don't have a doll collection.
So can you have any fun?
I have lots of fun. I just don't need dolls to do it.
What about antiquers? What do you think of them?
I think that, it depends on what they're finding. If they're looking for antique dolls, those are super creepy. I'll tell you that much. I'm just not a big doll guy. If you are, that's fine. I'm not a big doll. I've never liked to play with dolls.
I used to have a porcelain doll collection when I was little, and then I realized that I think that was pushed on me more by adults because I definitely, as I got older, just thought they were creepy and didn't want them.
And let me guess, Salk, you hate the wave too, right? You hate the wave of games?
Not that into the wave, no.
Wait, Brock, you like the wave? No, you don't.
Nobody likes it.
No, you don't.
Kids like the wave.
Okay, I like the wave.
How?
I don't like wave guy or wave gal. I don't like the center of attention person that's got to get the wave going.
Right.
But once the wave gets going, I like the communal aspect of it. Sure. You don't?
The wave is maybe the worst thing in baseball. I mean, it's like all these people, and it happens in close games a lot of the time too. It'll be a close game late in the game, and people are like, you know what? You know what we should start doing? Stop watching the game and like get in front of everybody.
But you're probably
Block
a big.
their view.
Well,
What?
nothing. Don't worry. You know what? I'm just going to keep my opinions to myself. 509 says without bobbleheads and Funko Pop dolls, the stands would be empty. So you're saying that there's more fans of dolls than of sports? I don't know. That's hard for me to handle. I hope that's not true. I'll go one more because the 425 sent one in, Brock. Microwave popcorn or stovetop popcorn? Look, stovetop all day. If you make real popcorn on the stove with canola oil in a pot, there's nothing better. Other than, obviously, movie theater popcorn, which is going to be number one. But number two is definitely making it on the stove. All right, good job.
Do you remember Howdy's fascination with movie theater butter?
Oh, yeah. I mean, again, the guy would get the large popcorn out of the trash and then get free refills so that he wouldn't have to pay for it. It's truly remarkable. All right, maybe we can ask Brock some Blue 88 questions about dolls. Let's do it. Let's see what we got today.
This is Brock and Salk's Blue 88.
Blue 88! Blue 88!
We take you to the field as Brock Heward breaks down 3 football questions as only he can.
Now here's your hosts, Brock Heward and Mike Salk.
You know what I've realized?
What?
Howdy, other than his gallstone, which he kept, was never sick. And I think the immunity he built up from trash cookies.
I think there's some of that.
And movie theater popcorn. And
yeah.
Was he ever? I don't think he was ever. Like, he never had sniffle. He's never sick. That guy's immunity, rock star.
I mean, there is something to that, right?
Yeah.
I gotta say, this text came in, by the way, 425. You do realize the amount of grief you give Lyle for not immediately answering questions is exactly how both of you answer every single question, is what the text comes in and says.
It's just not true.
It's not true.
Are you sure?
Blatantly
you want to hear
untrue.
me answer these next 3?
Yeah. Watch this.
Well, I
Watch
think the
this.
difference is that they can ask you, like, if you're awake and you're not sure. If you want.
Well, pull out your notepad. Take some notes right here.
Question number 1. Brock, what is the most drastic difference between what the Seahawks are doing versus what their peers across the street are doing?
Well, yesterday I was reflecting upon so much of the sarcasm that was lathered on me and everybody in our region, listening to you about the O-line and this O-line, and they can't find anybody. And I think the difference is in football, you can hide a lot more deficiencies through your scheme. You can do that. Baseball, you can't. Baseball, you get in that batter's box and you just can't hide. And oh, by the way, Lyle, thanks for sending the starting pitchers over the next 10 days that the Mariners are going to face, because they're all lethal. I mean, you're going to face some elite dudes and you're just exposed. And there's no hiding it. There's no way to really protect that in football, Salk. And we'll see, and we'll all be the judge of this. Because you heard me last year, you heard Ray Roberts last year, you heard Michael Bumpus last year, you heard a lot of us who played offense, and our frustration with, like, why are you exposing your tackles in this kind of way all the time? Why do you have Laumea in a one-on-one all the time? You have got to protect these guys. And I think therein is a little bit of a difference between what you have done with your scheme, with the hire within your scheme, with the resources you have spent, with all the people you're bringing in to teach this scheme, to try to, Salk, limit some of the deficiencies that every one of these linemen have. If Tom Cable says 64 starting tackles and there's 25 difference makers, then you better protect the other 40 guys playing that position, because they are deficient athletically to the guy they line up against. And I don't think there's been a good enough job of that the last few years.
All right, question number 2.
Take notes on that, Lyle.
5 out of 10.
Got that, Lyle?
5 out of 10.
I mean, you answered the question directly. You were wrong about it, but it was cool the way you at least answered it. Question number 2, Brock. How will These new kickoff rules change things.
Tommy Telesco, do you remember that name?
I do. Former GM of the Chargers.
And the Raiders. And former just intern / scout of the Indianapolis Colts when he picked me up at the airport in 2002.
Hence the
when
Tommy.
I was traded to the Indianapolis Colts. He's now doing a little bit of media work, and he is 100% right. The biggest impact of all these rule changes that we just saw go down is this one right here. Cut Tim.
To me, the biggest thing that I've seen so far today on the different rule proposal changes is going to be the kickoff, with now having to touch back to the 35. So, as we saw this year, returns were up to almost 30%, but still a lot of teams had the philosophy just to kick it deep in the end zone, and we'll play defense from the 30. Now that comes out to the 35, I think you're going to see a majority of kicks come down in the field of play, which means almost every kickoff is going to be returned. And I think that's going to be a big difference. The teams that have really good kickoff returners, and probably at this point you're going to need more than one, that's going to be a big part of field position, and then covering kicks is going to be very important. So I think that's going to be a pretty major change as we look into next year.
100% agree. Starting the ball at the 25, starting at the 30, okay, I can still kick it. Starting at the 35, where you're basically with the kickers today, like one chunk play away from field goal range.
You're 25 yards away from field goal range.
Exactly.
25
You are going to be seeing the percentage of returns going to go double, triple. I mean, it's going to be off the charts. And to his point, like covering those, which was not a strength of these Seahawks last year, I think there were some guys out there that should not have been out there, defensive linemen and otherwise. Mike Morris, bless his heart, he too just got married, by the way, should not be on kickoff coverage, and I don't think will be this year because there are going to be a lot more returns in 2025.
All right, question number 3. What do you make of Tim Hasselbeck? He had some pointed comments about Shedeur Sanders. Here's what Tim had to say.
I agree with everything Sam said in terms of the strengths of Shedeur Sanders. He is smart. He knows how to play the position. I think where it gets really tricky is you're talking about rarefied air when you're talking about drafting a guy at the top of the draft. And look, he just is not as physically talented as you would like to see. I mean, it sounds crazy considering he's Deion Sanders' son, but that's just the case. And so, look, my comp on Shedeur Sanders has kind of been in that Andy Dalton range. People have compared him to Kirk Cousins. Look, those are compliments. Both of those guys have thrown for over 250 touchdowns through their NFL career. Both of those guys have led teams to the playoffs. But when you're talking about the top half of round one, look, again, you're looking for elite traits, and he just doesn't have those.
Yeah, I don't know if Daniel Jeremiah will go on the record saying all of that, saying that quiet part out loud, because obviously when you do, you face the brunt of Deion and Shedeur and everybody else and things that he has accomplished. But Tim is right. There is not. I was even chatting with Joel Klatt about this a little bit, and Joel obviously a huge fan of Shedeur and a huge fan of Colorado and an alum and everything that Deion has done and the presence that they have brought to Boulder and the relevancy, Salk. But as far as plus traits, plus size, no. Plus arm, no. Plus athleticism, no. Compared to Caleb, Jaden, Drake, Penix, Bo, athletically, arm, all of it, no. And it is a whole lot more Andy Dalton. And Andy Dalton's been a heck of a pro for 15 years and led teams to playoffs. But is that something you take in the top 10? Well, maybe. And the only argument, quite honestly, I read a whole extensive article in The Athletic about this the other day. The numbers tell you very, very clearly teams with quarterbacks on their rookie deals with that cost-controlled number for 4 to 5 years are at a big advantage in wins and losses and building their roster. So maybe you say, yeah, I get all that. And compared to the peers in the top 15, you're right. There's not any plus traits. But if we're right on this lottery ticket and he ends up being a very, very good player and we can surround, like Brock Purdy, with X, Y, and Z and pay these guys, then it's worth taking that kind of reach.
Is Brock Purdy actually a decent comp?
No, he's real small.
Too small.
Yeah. I mean, he's real small hands, real limited arm. But I think he processes the game faster. Shedeur's 120-something sacks the last 2 years. There's some problematic pocket presence, too, with what was going on there as well.
That is today's Blue 88. Well done, Brock. You really answered those questions.
I appreciate it.
Incredible. I mean, just really incredible.
All right, fine. I'll bump it up. 5.5 out of 10. That's my grade.
Thank you. You're asking Lou Piniella and George Karl. And the minute you say those names, I reflect back to the 90s and my time and my life and knowing those men. And that's That's almost familial. That was difficult for me.
I'm sorry.
So,
I didn't mean
that's
to.
Okay. No, it's
I'm sorry
okay.
the game was too hard for you.
I'm sorry.
usually, your competitive nature gets up.
Okay, you know what?
Get your dander up, but
you know what?
I'm sorry today was too hard for you.
My competitive nature got up yesterday in our show meeting. I don't know if you knew this or not.
Yours
yours
did?
By the way. Yeah, mine did too.
That was a different part of my nature.
We express it in different ways. Okay, you're a little more verbal. I'm a little more sensy-poo. But when Kyle took a shot at me, right between these wide-spaced eyes right here, our program director, he took a little shot at me.
He asked a pointed question. Brock did not like it.
I did not like it.
He didn't like it at all.
I internalized it, and I did. See, you are like Damon and my dad in our meetings. Like, you fight with Kyle like Damon fought with my dad, and he'd run laps. My dad would say something to me, and I just like internalized it. Little sensitive guy, like I did yesterday with Kyle.
Okay,
but Kyle, you better get ready for some fire if you're listening right now, because you're going to know this name, and you're going to like this name, and you're going to enjoy this draft profile. Doggone it.
When you're on the pitch clock and don't have time for your favorite Seattle sports shows, listen to the podcasts on demand.
How about that? Unbelievable. Who would have thought?
Every hour, every interview, every look behind the scenes.
Dan Wilson's the new skipper.
This is a window. This is a time where we can get it done, and that's the hope. That's the vision for this club.
Find us on SeattleSports.com, the Seattle Sports app, or wherever you get podcasts.
Holy smokes!
Never miss a minute of Seattle sports, the home of the Mariners.
Asset Roofing was founded with the aim of shielding the community from liabilities that may arise from hiring a contractor. Bob Stelton here, and I love their slogan. You're either hiring an asset or you're hiring a liability. Now, I've been there, and you probably have too. Hiring a contractor that showed up late, delivered shoddy work, or went over budget. Asset Roofing is the opposite of a bad contractor. Their business model is to deliver honest and transparent solutions, becoming a valuable asset for both clients and their communities. Now, I experienced it firsthand when I met Anthony, the owner, and then again when I had him do work on my roof. Now, these guys are the best in the business, and I highly recommend Asset Roofing to local homeowners. Now, this spring, replace your aging roof with Asset Roofing. Ask them about their specialty, metal roofs. You're either hiring a liability or you're hiring an asset. Check them out at AssetRoofingCo.com. That's AssetRoofingCo.com.
Certified work that's never in doubt. Asset Roofing, excellence is on the house.
This message comes from Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort. Journey through the heart of Europe on an elegant Viking longship with thoughtful service, destination-focused dining, and cultural enrichment on board and on shore. With small ships that bring travelers closer to the destination, there's more time to explore. And every Viking voyage is all-inclusive, with no children and no casinos. Discover more at Viking.com.
Check engine or ABS light on? Take the guesswork out of your warning lights with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Go from daydreamer to industry leader with Amazon Business. From office supplies to IT essentials, Amazon Business provides tools that help you save costs and make insight-based decisions. Learn how to bring your visions to life at AmazonBusiness.com.
From the first one born in the USA to the tens of millions that followed, from the American highways to the NASCAR race days, more people have counted on their Camrys than any other car for over 23 years. And now, Camry is even better. It's all hybrid all the time to be more efficient yet powerful, with available all-wheel drive for the capability to go wherever you want to go in style and comfort. For the latest offers, go to Toyota.com. A negotiable dock fee of up to $200 may be added. Toyota, let's go places.
The Mariners have a great slate of giveaways all month long. Don't miss the Cal Raleigh Platinum Glove Bobblehead giveaway Monday, April 7th through Wednesday, April 9th against the Astros. All 3 dates are Mariners value games, which means you can score seats and a bobble for as little as $10. Then the fun continues with Corduroy Hat Night Friday, April 11th, presented by Alaska Airlines, and Salute to Armed Forces Night Saturday, April 12th, featuring a camo jersey giveaway thanks to Boeing. Go to Mariners.com to get your tickets today.
Did you hear? A recent stash of $10 gold Liberty coins from the 1800s has been found. These gorgeous gold coins are as bright and shiny as the day they were struck in the late 1800s. And less than 200 of these gold coins are available. Coin experts are calling this gold find an incredible opportunity. Call 1-800-917-4635 and you are guaranteed a $10 gold Liberty coin minted by the U.S. Mint in the 1800s. But with extremely limited availability, you must call now. These gold Liberty coins from the 1800s are still in uncirculated condition. That is history you can hold in your hand. To learn more, call 1-800-917-4635. Call now and you'll receive a free American Coin Collector's Bonus Package, a $40 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-917-4635 now to secure your $10 Gold Liberty coins dated from the 1800s before they sell out. That's 1-800-917-4635.
My wife and I have been married for over 15 years, and I've never had any complaints about my performance in the bedroom. But after I turned 40, things started feeling different. I was gaining weight, losing muscle, and I just wasn't interested in sex anymore. My wife told me her friend's husband went through the same thing, and it turns out he had low testosterone. So we booked a free T-check at Revive Health, and that's when I learned that my testosterone levels were low too. We worked with a provider to create a custom treatment plan, and today, my wife and I are having more fun than we did on our honeymoon. My only regret is not reaching out sooner.
If you're ready to book your free T-check, visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com or call 206-529-1111. Again, that's 206-529-1111.
This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports.
Give me a freaking auto!
From the Quantum Fiber Studio, this is Brock and Salk on Seattle Sports.
I don't read the internet, guys.
Take the bull by the hands.
And Brooke, you are. And Brooke, you are.
Now here are your hosts, Brock Heward and Mike Salk.
Got a bunch of replies to the popcorn take, Brock, about the stove. Everybody agrees stovetop popcorn is great, but some questions about the type of oil used, if maybe you should do something other than canola. And I'm open to other ideas.
What about just butter? What about just lard?
Well, I think you need oil to cook it in. I mean, obviously you're going to put butter on the top, but like to cook the popcorn, I think you've got to use oil. Olive oil, I think, doesn't burn at a high enough heat or whatever. Okay. So I'm curious what people use. I've tried avocado oil. It flavors it in a way I don't like. No. So I'm peanut oil. Like, what do you use if not canola oil? I will certainly take text on that. 866-979-3776. While I try to fix my my popcorn health, hopefully you can keep us updated with the next in a series of Brock Heward draft profiles.
The Seattle Seahawks select.
This is Brock Heward's draft profile.
You want traits? Check. You want to vote the leader? Check.
At the end of the day, you have to say, okay, what's best for the organization? Can you make people around you better, and can you bring people together?
Every day leading up to the draft.
Goodness gracious. You want a vocal leader? Bring people together, make them better, elevate your whole freaking program. Hey, Kyle Brown, how do you like number 13 here? Running back / fullback Cam Skattebo. Do you know that name? Do you know the name Cam Skattebo? It looks like Skattebo, but it's Skattebo, and the whole college football world learned that last year. Salk, why? Because he took Arizona State, Lyle Goldstein's beloved Sun Devils, a dreck of a program, unfortunately, right, under Herm, just never mounted to much, wasted the talents of Jaden Daniels, got themselves in trouble with Antonio Pierce. Here comes Cam Skattebo. And you want a little flavor, you want a little highlight? Here was just a little of what Cam Skattebo got done on the field.
Skattebo straight on head, driving those legs, and then he gets in, he is in, touchdown, forks up.
Yeah, Joe Tessitore, the perfect guy. You want somebody to call a Cam Skattebo highlight? I don't know, one of his 21 rushing touchdowns and 3 receiving touchdowns last year. That'd be 24 touchdowns last year. You want somebody to call his highlights? Call up Joe Tessitore.
Why? Is he a special team guy?
He will play some special teams now in the NFL. Will he cover some kicks? Will he be a possible returner in that phase of it? Yes. Cam Skattebo in the 3rd round for the Seattle Seahawks. Maybe their late 3rd round if he falls somehow, some way to the 4th round because the league says, well, you can't run 4.65. It's just not possible and be a difference maker at the NFL like you were at the collegiate level. And I say, do not bet against this dude. Do not bet against him. Salk, I'm just looking at my board from last year. Here's a few. There's the board. There was the Arizona State board and the destruction the humiliation in that rivalry game. Yeah, see, Raj, bear down. I mean, they just forks right up all through you all game long, and he was a big part of that. When I look at my board, you know what I see? Feel. You know what their head coach talked about? The instincts. You know what else I read about? A story between head coach and players saying, hey, Cam, you can be a good college football player at the weight and body fat you are. If you want to be great, you're going to have to lose 15 pounds, lose some body fat, and get even quicker. And you know what Skattebo did? Took those words to heart and did just that. So he could have a season unlike any season down there at Arizona State. His instincts, Salk, really are off the charts. And that's why, to me, he's a viable candidate here. Not as, you got, obviously, Kenny, you got Zach Charbonnet. You've got talent at that position. You've invested in that position. But when I talk to folks around there and people in this system, and they say for a fullback, you know what we're looking for? We're looking for a guy like Olandis Gary, somebody that was a college tailback who knows how to read the game, who sees things before they happen, and that's Cam Skattebo. And then, are physical enough. And this dude, there's not a more physical running back in all of college football last year. At the time of that Arizona State game, that was the last regular season game of the year. He was second in missed tackles force with 87 on the season. On top of that, and this also is where he is intriguing in special teams, where he's intriguing as like Kyle Juszczyk has been in his prime in San Francisco. He is a tremendous catcher of the football. He was second in the country last year in yards after catch, 13.8 yards after catch, That was third in the FBS. So put the ball in his hands between the tackles. Let him read, see, feel, and just the development of the run game and the plays, he's got that in spades. And then he can catch it, and he will hit you, and he will run through you. Here was Skattebo talking about himself and what he brings to the NFL when he was at the Combine just about a month and a half ago.
Physical. People don't think I'm as fast as I am, which I am fast. But punish the defender because they don't want to do it for 4 quarters. Not everyone thinks they have to play for 4 quarters because now in today's game it's either a blowout or it's a tight game. There's no in between of fighting back and forth. Within 15 points, it's a game of numbers, and you either score a lot or you don't. And my objective at the end of the day is get to the end zone. So being able to do that the way I do it, it works. So I'm going to continue to do it until it doesn't work, and then figure out how to make something work. So.
Yeah, it's fun to see him in person, man. It's fun to study his tape. The Brian Baldingers, all the physical guys, at the line of scrimmage in the NFL who've talked about this kid are just, you're overwhelmed by it. Salky, it's kind of fun. You're going through this youth sports phase, and with Avery, the same thing, and the arts and the drama and the singing. When you see somebody that just stands out, you're like, well, that's just different. That kid's just different. Cam Skattebo's been that kid every step of the way. He was just different in youth football. He was different in high school. He was different at Sac State for 2 years, where he was the Big Sky Player of the Year, where you're like, you can't tackle the guy. And then to see it at ASU, to see it in the Big 12, to see it in the college football playoff, to see what he did to elevate the entirety of that program, those are guys I want on my NFL team. I don't want role players. I don't want bit players. I don't want I got to project this player. I want somebody that's done it at the highest level and elevated everybody around him. In traits, he's missing one trait, and it's why he won't be a first or second round pick. He doesn't run 4.4, 4.5. He jumps 39.5 inches, so his power and explosive fiber is off the chart. But he ran 4.65 at his pro day or something like that, and we'll ask DJ about it here in 15 minutes. And because of it, he won't be a first or second round pick. If he's in the 3rd round, make him a Seattle Seahawk.
I'm still kind of confused by that quote of his. Most games are either... What's he saying?
So don't get confused.
Nowadays, games are either blowouts or they're close. I mean, yeah. No kidding. Aren't all games like that?
There can be games that are, 20 points.
I guess.
They're not 42 points or 4 points. There can be games there that are kind of handled and taken advantage of. I think he's right.
I didn't fully follow all
Maybe
that,
you just don't speak Arizona State. You don't pick up on what I say. You don't pick up on what Cam Skattebo says. Maybe it's a you thing.
Totally possible.
You know what he is, too?
I'll own that.
That was still targeting in the college football playoff, by the way, while we're on this topic.
So. You know what he is? He's about 25 pounds shy of Craig Ironhead Hayward.
But so great job today. I will admit to being a little worried about this one.
I know you don't like running backs. Don't take running back.
No,
He's
it's
a running
not that.
back.
I love running backs.
He's a
I think they're
fullback.
fun.
He's a special teamer. He's a pass catcher. He's a blocker. Can you imagine him and Charbonnet in the backfield
He's just
together?
the type of player that I feel like I get suckered into and then doesn't end up being good in the NFL.
That's
Even
why
though I want him to be,
Yep.
and I'm like, oh, I love
That's
it.
why you don't take him in the first or second round.
No,
He
I
won't
know
be.
that.
Well, you don't have to get suckered into him because I'll be suckered into him.
That's
I'll
true.
play that role on
All
the
right,
show.
good. Well, you go do that.
Lyle, you ever have shots with him down there at what's that road? What's the road in Tempe?
Mill Avenue?
Yeah.
No, because he didn't get there till after we had all graduated.
Okay.
That's too bad.
Yeah.
I think that guy had some fun on Mill Avenue his first year and then had to do some maturing and had to have some hard conversations about really what a pro is and taking care of yourself, and you want to be a pro. And the dude is a pro, and he's going to go somewhere. And honestly, he's going to be – who was that little back for New England? New England seemed to, under Bill, always have those backs that just could catch it, could block it, could run it. Kevin Falk was one of them. Who was the other?
Danny Woodhead.
Danny Woodhead, right? And he's more talented, I think, than a Danny Wood, but just that guy. And he helps you win games. And he gets in the red zone, and more importantly, in this system, he's going to block. You've got to have a feel, right? You can't take somebody that's never been a runner, in my opinion, and I think in their opinion in that building, and just say, oh, yeah, man, I love you're 240 pounds or 260 pounds and go block this guy. No, you got to feel, you got to sense, you got to get – and yeah, his instincts are just off the charts.
I'm having all kinds of issues with the text coming in about the popcorn stuff and the oil. Like,
don't you mix butter and oil? Olive oil and butter mixed creates a much higher. That's what I do.
That's how you get
when
a higher.
fry
Yeah,
my
I guess
food.
you could
Yes.
do that, but then that's a lot of butter. I could try that. I guess I would try that.
Oh, and a lot of butter is bad.
No, I guess that's true. I could try that. People suggesting coconut oil. I've done that. It's fine. People suggesting, I don't know. Most of the other suggestions don't quite. Yeah. So, you could always just use something else. Like, yeah, I know I could. It's unbelievable.
You ever throw a little half a Hershey's chocolate bar in there?
No, I don't like that much. I've had that over at Cinerama where they have the chocolate popcorn.
Little chocolate and caramel.
Yeah, I like my popcorn just to be popcorn.
Okay.
The one thing I will add, I'll add a little truffle oil or truffle salt. Give that a little extra saltiness.
Eliteness?
Yeah, a little bit. But I want my popcorn to be super salty and buttery.
I can't stand the smell of truffle oil.
Oh, it's so good. Oh, my gosh. It's so delicious. DJ's coming up in 20 after everything you need to know next.
The John Schneider Show.
Every Thursday until draft day on Wyman and Bob.
We are now speaking with the architect of your Seattle Seahawks.
How we doing, football fans?
With Seahawks President of Football Operations and General Manager John Schneider.
My job is to do what's best for the Seattle Seahawks organization. I have to keep wrapping my mind around that and trying to communicate effectively.
Listen live Thursdays at 4 p.m. or watch the interviews on the Seattle Sports YouTube page.
What's the standard the Seahawks defense needs to be held to under Mike McDonald?
The John Schneider Show.
Brought to you by Pizza Hut.
Hey, Brock Hewitt here from my friends at PCF Group, or People Come First Construction Group, and that's exactly what they did when we made the call a couple years ago. We wanted to redo our outdoor space, wanted to add a deck, and outdoor living, a television, and a kitchen, and PCF Group, wow, they more than delivered. And if you're interested in building a stunning outdoor area like we did, I cannot recommend them enough. Reach out before the good weather arrives, and their schedule, well, it's going to fill up. So whether you're looking for a complete outdoor living space or a very specific project like an underdeck ceiling, deck, patio cover, railings, PCF has you covered. Design now and pay later. In fact, get 12 months, no interest and no payments, and up to $6,000 off and a $1,000 Amazon gift card. Request a complimentary design and estimate consultation at 425-629-8476 or project ideas. Explore photos at pcfgroup.com. That's 425-629-8476.
You never get a second chance to make a first impression. Superior Linen Service. 98 years providing logoed apparel, uniforms, floor mats, linens, and more. Give us a call. We answer the phone. Superior Linen Service. Visit suplinen.com.
Home Comfort Alliance has been making homes comfortable since 1977. Call the comfort people to Home Comfort Alliance for all your heating, cooling, plumbing, or electrical needs. Visit homecomfortalliance.com and tell them John Curley sent you. homecomfortalliance.com.
Thy ticket, Lady Jennifer of Coolidge.
Well, many thanks, good sir. Here'th my Discover card.
They accept Discover at Renaissance fairs?
Yeah, they do here. Discover is accepted at the places I love to shop. Getteth with the times.
With the times?
You're playing the lute. Yeah, and it sounds pretty good, right?
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide.
based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
No two people learn the exact same way. So how did Babbel become the award-winning language learning app? We thought of you, all of you. Take Sierra. As a visual learner, she uses Babbel's wordplay videos.
Today I'll share a quick lesson on shopping in French.
Merci beaucoup. Keith is a be in the room with real people kind of learner, so he loves the live online classes with our language experts.
Okay, class. Vos está pronto.
Estamos prontos.
However you learn, Babbel makes it easy. Try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. BABBEL.com.
Did you hear? A recent stash of $10 gold Liberty coins from the 1800s has been found. These gorgeous gold coins are as bright and shiny as the day they were struck in the late 1800s, and less than 200 of these gold coins are available. Coin experts are calling this gold find an incredible opportunity. Call 1-800-917-4635, and you are guaranteed a $10 gold Liberty coin minted by the U.S. Mint in the 1800s. But with extremely limited availability, you must call now. These gold Liberty coins from the 1800s are still in uncirculated condition. That is history you can hold in your hand. To learn more, call 1-800-917-4635. Call now and you'll receive a free American Coin Collector's Bonus Package, a $40 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-917-4635 now to secure your $10 gold Liberty coins dated from the 1800s before they sell out. That's 1-800-917-4635.
4 down territory, going inside the game with Michael Bumpus.
I like this. More quarterbacks should start doing this.
Every day at 11:15 and 1:15 on Bump and Stacy.
Washington State has the 3rd highest cost of living in the nation. If Olympia politicians raise taxes again, the cost of everything from groceries and gas to housing will go up even more. They've already doubled spending over 10 years, with little to show for it. Washington State needs lower costs, not higher taxes. Demand smarter state spending now at affordablewashington.org. Paid for by people for an affordable Washington and Olympia, Washington. Top 5 donors are Washington Alliance for Competitive Economy, Microsoft, Madrona, T-Mobile, and Alaska Air.
Hi, this is Nancy Penrose, owner of Big Trees in Snohomish. Spring has sprung. Need color to brighten up your yard or privacy trees to keep your neighbors guessing? Now is the time to buy. With hundreds of trees arriving in the nursery daily, Big Trees has the perfect tree for you. Check out our updated inventory list online at bigtreesupply.com or come visit the nursery today.
So I formed Davis Law Group about 30 years ago, and I would get, the same questions from people about what to do in the case of an accident. Do you need a lawyer? To the point where I decided that I would at least write a book which would answer the common questions that I would receive as a lawyer. Once I wrote my first book, it proved to be hugely popular. I decided to write then a series of books in different accident cases so that we could really teach people about their rights, how to protect them, and how to decide on whether they need a lawyer and what lawyer to hire. I've found in my career that having a client that is educated and knowledgeable about their particular type of case really helps the client and also usually ends up making the case or the claim more successful. To get your free copy of any of my Washington accident books, visit WashingtonAccidentBooks.com.
Need to know.
15 minutes past every hour with Brock and Salk.
Here's what you need to know. Up first.
Rough night for the Mariners. All kinds of issues, specifically offensively, where they got almost nothing done. Just one hit, one run. The run came on essentially a walk, wild pitch, ground out, sac fly. So I guess kudos to them for manufacturing one, but obviously wasn't enough as they fall 4-1 in Game 2 of the series with Detroit. Dan Wilson, we'll talk about the offense. Here's Dan on the offense.
Yeah, he seemed to be moving it around, and the location was pretty good tonight, and just kept us from mounting anything. We did, again, hit a couple balls hard at timely times, or at timely points in the game. They were able to make a play and kind of shut things down, but we just weren't able to get much going offensively.
Obviously, they were not, but it was more than that. I had issues with the defense, some of the decision-making, mental mistakes made in the first inning, and Logan Gilbert gave it a good run. He wanted to get deep into that game. Unfortunately, he only goes 5.
I'm never going to ask to come out. I'm always going to fight for it, but they have the big picture in mind. I want to save the fin as much as I can. I felt like was in a groove. I was going well. So if it wasn't second game of the season, I'm probably going back out there. But that's just how it goes when the pitch count gets run up a little bit.
Yeah, all that makes sense.
You know who also wasn't good last night? CB Buckner. Just not good.
Why was he halfway down the third baseline?
No idea. So
on
he
that
could
home
put on
run?
a show and he could have the home run trot right alongside.
That was really bizarre.
Riley
I've never
Green.
seen that before.
Yeah. I don't think Riley Green had either. It's like, what are you doing?
Why are you in my way as I'm running
I
down
hit
the
home run.
bases?
You're missing calls left and right behind the plate. Get your butt back there.
I will always say this. Angel Hernandez might be the poster boy for bad umpires. There is nobody worse at balls and strikes specifically than CB
That's
Buckner.
true. CB's really bad at that.
So bad.
Angel has the additional problem of being a jerk.
Yeah.
Like it's not, CB is sort of clueless, but Angel's takes also being a bad umpire and then is obnoxious about it, which is just kind of takes things to a whole different level.
0 for 4 with runners in scoring position. This got to turn. I mean, this team, we've said it a bunch. They've got very, very, very little margin offensively, Salk. And when you get runners in scoring position, you get second and third. Luke Raley, you've got to put the ball in play.
Yeah, that is true. But also, Brock, you see how one game affects the next, right? Everything. I'm not disagreeing with anything you just said. But how much is okay, one guy gets blown up early in the game, and then that means you got to use relievers, and then that means Logan's got to go deep, but then he can't. And then you start pushing a little bit, and now you've got guys trying to throw runners out from the outfield, which you're probably not going to be able to do, and now you're allowing runners to take. Baseball's played over 162 for a reason, right? You one game affects the next, and I felt like we saw a lot of that last night.
And now we got Skubal and Ray and Jordan Hicks and Framber Valdez and Hunter Brown and Jacob deGrom and Nathan Eovaldi coming up.
Not going to be an easy road. This offense try to get itself figured out.
Here's the second thing you need to know.
Odd. It looks like Emerson Hancock is not going to be a part of that for a while. He was sent down yesterday after the start. Now, you figured there would be some sort of a roster move to get a reliever up. I assumed it would be Taylor Saucedo who has options, but instead they go with the starter. It's noteworthy because he's got to be down there for 15 days, which means that you're probably going to have to use either Jonathan Diaz or Casey Lawrence or maybe even the other Luis Castillo to make a start or two. Surprising.
Luis K. Castillo.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
F. Castillo.
He's just
Luis
the other
F.
Luis Castillo, I think is fine.
I still wonder if Emerson only misses one turn through the rotation and then comes back because there's 3 off days built in. Maybe you only need one game with Lawrence or Diaz, and then he comes back.
If you're Emerson, do you look at this as punishment?
I don't think it's punishment, but clearly listening to Dan Wilson afterwards, they weren't wild about something they saw.
We're going to bring Jonathan Diaz up for the bullpen help that we may need tonight. And it's a tough pill to swallow. There's no question about it. And Emerson had such a great spring and pitched with a lot of confidence, came here with a lot of confidence, and really just wanting him to go down and continue that confident route, continue to refine what he does. I think he's had a great mental approach, and his stuff has been really good. So just needs to continue to refine that.
Honestly, when I saw that Dan had spoken about it, I was expecting the cut to say something like, yeah, not really, anything on him. It's just that we need to do an arm and we wanted to have the bullpen of it. I expected it to sound more like that.
Yeah.
When I hear, no, we want him to go do this, that, and the other.
Some things,
it
keep
sounds
his confidence up.
Yeah, they didn't like what they saw.
No.
Right?
No.
Interesting.
Which is odd because there was 3 pretty soft hit balls that in a lot of games get caught, and in this game it just fell.
Yeah, I was pretty surprised by all of that. Maybe there's more information that we don't know about. Also yesterday, Jorge Polanco he's going to be off for a couple days on the paternity list as he and his wife are celebrating the birth of a child. Leo Rivas called up in his place.
Here's the third thing you need to know.
The tush push, Brock, is going to be tabled for now, but it sure sounds like Roger Goodell is working on banning it. Usually Roger gets whatever he wants, and so I would assume, based on the sound we played earlier.
16's pretty feisty.
For now. But don't you think once Roger starts lobbying and working with people that he'll get what he wants?
I don't know.
Really?
He's going to get what he wants when it comes to the kickoff, as we talked about in Blue 88. Changing that rule so that now a ball kicked into the end zone is all the way out to the 35.
It's crazy.
We're going to see a lot more returns, and we're going to get to see what I've seen in the UFL the last few years. That's some of that laser technology, Salk. Lasers So the
Why
chain
35?
gang.
Why not go all the way? Just make it to the 50. I mean, like at some point, just what's the difference? Like we really don't want that ball in the end zone, 50-yard line. The opposing team's 40. I mean, like, yeah, it's.
This will be a deterrent. There's going to be a
should.
lot of activity. It's going to be fun.
It's everything you need to know. 1/4 every hour here on the Brock and Salk Show. The return. Yesterday we had the return of Jeff Passan. It didn't disappoint. Jeff was pretty great yesterday. Today, the return of Daniel Jeremiah, who's going to join us for the next 6 weeks, talking draft, talking football, talking everything that DJ does best. It's coming up next on Brock and Salk.
Seattle Sports, your home for Bump and Stacy. Weekdays 10 to 2.
What might be different with Dan Wilson? The type of baseball that feels slightly more sustainable. Like when they won last year, this is what it looked like.
Yeah.
Maybe you score late, maybe your run production is in an inning, maybe 2. It's usually bombs, and then your pitching is elite enough to hold the other team to 2 or less.
Bombs won the game, but we know the philosophy of this team is kind of just put the ball in play and advance these runners.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
All right, Mike Salk here. Not only have we heard from you guys, listeners, advertisers, including a texter from the 775 last week who said they were starting their Eastside Weight Loss Clinic journey. Yeah, that's right. They went on to say they hadn't felt optimistic in a very long time, but said I'd been so transparent about my journey, they finally decided to give it a try, and were actually pretty excited. Well, best of luck to you, and I'm looking forward to hearing about your progress. This program really does work. Eastside Weight Loss Clinic. Former big league pitcher, friend of the show, Ryan Roland Smith. He's lost 30 pounds. I was watching him last night. He looks great in a suit on TV. He did that in just about 60 days. Pro athlete, right? Working out was his whole life. And then, yeah, to quote him, you can't outwork a bad diet, especially as you get older. Well, Eastside Weight Loss Clinic helped Ryan, and they helped me, and they can help you as well. Just starts with a 15-minute phone consultation, and that part's free. Yeah, schedule it right now at eastsideweightlossclinic.com. Again, go to eastsideweightlossclinic.com. Dr. Ryan Coogan, D.C. Results may vary.
Hey, it's Shannon O'Kelly, President and CEO of IRG Physical and Hand Therapy, inviting you to come to work for IRG. With just over 40 locations in the beautiful Pacific Northwest, you have the opportunity to work in the city and place you want with a great team, a great atmosphere, and great mentorship.
Shannon, what type of staff are you looking to hire? Is it just clinical staff right now?
We are looking to hire not only physical therapists, but also occupational therapists, exercise techs, athletic trainers, front office coordinators. We have a whole platform of different services we provide to the community.
Over 40 clinics in the Pacific Northwest. There are openings across the whole company. Head over to irgpt.com/careers and apply today. But Shannon, will they have any fun coming to work at IRG?
Oh my gosh, Brock, that's what it's all about. We want to have fun. We're all about passion. We're all about positivity. We want people to change lives. That's what we're doing here at IRG. We're changing lives, not only of our employees, our patients, and our communities. We want you to be your best self.
So head over to irgpt.com/careers, irgpt.com/careers, and apply today.
Imagine finding your dream home and moving in right away. No waiting to sell your old place first. Sounds perfect, right? That's exactly what Orchard's Move First, Sell Later program lets you do. Buy your new home now and sell the old one later. Here's how it works. Orchard gives you cash so you can buy and move into your new home first on your timeline. No waiting, no showings, no double moves. Then the Orchard experts take it from there. They handle repairs on your old home and make price-boosting upgrades with no cost until close. Once they're done, a local Orchard agent lists and sells your home for top dollar. Orchard's Move First program gives you the freedom to buy and move into your new home first and sell your old home later. Buy before you sell and get top dollar for your home with Orchard. Ready to find out how much your home is worth? Visit orchard.com to get your free home valuation. That's orchard.com.
Bonneville International radio station contests are open to participants 18 years of age or older that are residents of Washington State unless otherwise specified. Employees or agents of the station, Bonneville International Corporation, other area radio stations, or any entity associated with the contests are not eligible to win unless the station otherwise specifies at its own discretion. Persons who have won in the last 60 days from a station contest or event may not be eligible. Full general contest rules are available on seattlesports.com or in person at the station during regular business hours.
We are Seattle Sports, the home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports.
Watch your favorite show live at seattlesports.com.
Washington State ranks number 5 in the country for auto theft. The most high-risk vehicles are Kia, Hyundai, Ford F-150, F-250, and F-350. Help keep your car safe with these simple and important tips. Don't leave your car running unattended. Park in well-lit areas. Lock up every time. Keep valuables out of sight. Use an anti-theft device like a steering wheel lock. Share this information with friends and family. Prevent the theft and keep you and your vehicle safe. These tips brought to you by the Washington Auto Theft Prevention Authority.
John here with Happy Hauler. We want to help get your unwanted items to those in need. Furniture and household items you plan on throwing away? We'll take them and prioritize donating and recycling, keeping items out of the landfill, and giving useful items a second happy home. Happy Hauler is Seattle's eco-friendly junk removal. We work with over 20 nonprofits all over Western Washington to donate used items. Make yourself, your community, and the planet happy. Reclaim your space. HappyHauler.com, hauling with a heart.
Comcast Business helps turn today's small businesses into engines of modern business. It's how restaurants become reliably up and running neighborhood favorites. How retailers become seamlessly restocking, cyber-securing, must-visit shops. And how healthcare offices become the data managing caregivers that we all depend on. With reliable connectivity, enhanced cybersecurity, advanced fiber solutions, and Wi-Fi backup, Comcast Business is powering the engine of modern business. Powering possibilities.
Now through April 21st, new customers can get started with 150 megabit internet and security edge for $49.99 a month for 12 months with a 2-year agreement. Plus, ask how to get a $500 prepaid card on a qualifying internet package. Call today. Restrictions apply. Not available in all areas. Requires enrollment in paperless billing and automatic payments with bank account. Equipment, taxes, and other fees extra and subject to change. Early termination fee applies.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio, you're listening to Brock and Salk.
Weekdays 6 to 10.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
You realize we're just over 3 weeks away from the draft?
Yeah, 3 weeks from tomorrow.
You feel ready? You feel like
No. These draft profiles, they kind of get me ready, and they kind of get going, as you could tell today. A little bit of emotion there with Skattebo. Some of these guys that I see in person. Remember, a lot of these are just on the college football road, trying to take you on the journey that Benetti and me and Bo and Allison and Darren, our whole crew is on all season long, where we do get behind the scenes, where I feel like, it kind of cuts through at times, where there's players that I may love, and then all of a sudden I watch them on tape for that week. I'm like, oh, and then I meet them in person, and I'm like, either, really like, yeah, okay, had a wrong impression there. Shedeur is honestly one of those guys that from afar, when I watched Shedeur, I was like, I don't see it. And then when I actually watch the tape, I do admire his toughness, man. He is a tough guy, and he's helped elevate and turn programs. And watching him throw in person, he's a really accurate passer. He kind of spins it a little bit like Geno, And so that to me is what my draft profile is. But honestly, these next 3 weeks kind of build up to draft day, where I feel like, okay, now I got a whole better sense, especially the first 2-3 rounds of guys.
It is such a crucial thing here for these Seahawks. I mean, like, I know we say that every year, and I have a level of guilt of being like, this is the biggest draft ever for the Seahawks, because every draft feels that way, short of the one where they only had like a couple of picks. But almost every year I feel like we say that, and I don't know, like, it doesn't feel like an exaggeration. You're going to have 5 picks in the top 95 or whatever. Like, that is how you change your franchise, especially after making the types of decisions that they made this offseason, moving on from DK, moving on from Geno. You've got to immediately start to A, figure out the direction you're headed after that, but then B, start to replenish talent. And that is one of the great questions is, how are you going to replenish that talent? Are you going to do it directly? Or are you going to indirectly replace it? And I guess what I mean by that is the direct replacement element is why you see so many people, picking the Seahawks to draft a wide receiver at number 18.
Right.
You lost a talented wide receiver, you're going to draft a talented wide receiver. You lost a talented quarterback, you picked up a talented quarterback in free agency. It's 1-for-1 replacement. The other idea is shifting resources, shifting construction of your team, where you move on from a wide receiver, you take the draft pick, you take the capital, and you add it to your offensive line or your defensive line or something along those lines.
Yeah, and the NFL is such, and most teams are like the Seahawks, the draft and develop phase of it in a hard salary cap. Like that, you got to do that. You've got to, and the teams that do that and hit, like the Seahawks did, in 10 and 11 and 12 and 13, you see the dividends that it pays. You hit on a third-round quarterback, Salk. It just frees you up to do so many things and sign, some veteran guys, a Cliff Averill, Mike Bennett, to add to the Wagners and the Sherman. Like, that's how they did it. And I think that there's some confidence around there that the last few years they feel really good about, that a Devin Witherspoon and a Charles Cross, and they're going to be this next wave of guys that are going to get paid. And now we need this next influx, and we've got to hit, man. We've got to be right on 2-3 of these guys, especially in the first 5 picks. They just can't be good players, right? You need great players. And baseball is a little different animal, right? That draft is a lot harder. It takes years and years oftentimes for those guys, certainly out of high school, to develop before you ever see them. Not this league. Drafted in April, in mini camp in May, and often starting 3 months later in September. And got to be difference makers. We're just waiting on DJ.
We may have a little miscommunication. We're working through some of that. We may have a miscommunication with DJ. It's a possibility we may do this tomorrow. We're working through. We're working through a couple things. Yeah, I was hoping maybe you wouldn't notice.
Oh, really?
I thought maybe I'd just keep talking. You would talk. You get distracted.
You think our audience really?
I don't know whether the audience notices or not. I thought maybe I could pull a fast one on everybody.
This is an audience. This is a smart audience. Listen to Colin Cowherd. This is an intelligent offense. This is a Fortune 500 company audience. Yes. These are smart fans. There's a lot of data. There's Google. There's Amazon. There's Microsoft. It's a smart fan. You don't think our audience is going to pick up on this song?
I thought maybe I could just slide right by and they wouldn't notice that DJ wasn't here. You never know, Brock. People could get confused easily and then think, oh, maybe I didn't hear what I thought I heard.
Sure.
Yeah, it's modern. It's the modern times. You just roll with it and just barrel ahead as if nothing has happened. And hopefully, I don't know. We'll try to work it out for tomorrow if it didn't work out. Well, there may be a little miscommunication. Let's not delve too deeply into it.
Please not.
Can we come back then? Because it's a conversation. I know. I'm sorry, 253. You were sitting in a car for extra time waiting for DJ. I don't know what to tell you. Things happen. Let me ask you this, Brock. We started this debate, was it yesterday or 2 days ago? And it's one I would like to continue with DJ whenever that is.
Okay.
And that is this whole third option in the best available versus need conversation. I figured you would.
Yep, had some tough time thought.
What is the right answer on this? Because I said the other day, I'm done with that dichotomy. I think it's a false dichotomy.
And that is, explain it.
The conversation we always hear.
Available talent versus the biggest need.
Right. We hear that all the time, right? Well, what is your philosophy? Are you a best available guy or a need guy? And I think that it's not right. It's a false premise. I don't accept the premise of the question. Because the premise suggests that those are the only two options, that you're either taking the best available player or you're taking a player that you need because you have a hole at that position that you've got to fill. And I just don't.
And let's make this specific to the Seahawks. I think as this is taking form, I think as the offseason is played out, I think as free agency is played out, as John's been pretty clear on the record, I think maybe bluffing a little at times because we're into that season. But by and large, usually when he says things publicly to Bob and Dave or at the press conferences, at the owners' meetings as of this week and saying, yeah, I think we're kind of done on the free agent side of things with the O-line. We brought a bunch of guys in, gave a bunch of them physicals, talked to a bunch of them, entertained a bunch of them, and none of them, in their estimation, were the value and the fit that they wanted as they, kind of project here 3 weeks from today with the draft. So I think we can make this a pretty simple conversation in this regard. And I don't know their grades. I'm not in their war room, but you look at enough mock drafts of people that, get a little bit more feedback, that get a little more feel, the Matt Millers, the Daniel Jeremiahs, the McShays, the Kuipers, and you're starting to see receivers' names filter into that 18th pick. And what that says to me is that these top receivers, kid out of Texas, kid out of Missouri, kid out of Arizona, whatever one you want to do, okay, let's just call that receiver an 8.2. Okay, that's just his grade.
Okay.
And I remember, Salk, very clearly when I was entertaining the thought of coming out of school after my third year. Started my redshirt freshman year, started my redshirt sophomore year, played with some amazing players, truly entertained the thought because about everybody was leaving. Olin was leaving school early. Benji was graduating. Jerome was graduating. Corey had left the year before after 2 months on campus. So they were all leaving, and I thought, okay, well, let me entertain this, and I could. None of this was illegal at the time. I met with Marvin Demoff. I met with Lee Steinberg, who was borderline unrecognizable when I knocked on his door, and I thought I was at the wrong hotel room. His dip was everywhere in his mouth, and he had like no teeth. But I met with him. I met with a few other people that gave me a sense of where I fit, and there's a grade. And at that time, a group called Blesco, I believe it was, BLESCO, which is still a scouting service that is around today. And, they kind of give you a grade. I reached out to the NFL even 30 years ago. They gave you a report back, and kind of, I think that said maybe mid-rounder. Blesco said, kind of second-rounder, talked to some other people. Might have been the third guy drafted after Peyton and Ryan Leaf in that second or third round. It ended up being Brian Greasy in the third round. Could have been right there in that fold. So kind of entertained all that. I had a grade, and I made that decision. I want to go back to school. I want to be the number one quarterback.
Okay.
Could argue bad decision.
You could argue.
Tim Couch and McNabb and Keely Smith, Kay McDown, Dante Culpepper. There are a few more guys coming back that next year. But anyhow, I had a hard grade. So let's say in this example, wide receiver gets grade 8.2. Okay?
Yeah.
8.2. And your best lineman that is left, let's say that Booker gets drafted, and a few of these guys get drafted, and the best lineman left is Gray Zabel. But Gray Zabel's got a 7.1 grade. Quite a disparity between the wide receiver and the offensive lineman. And, oh, by the way, down on the board in the second and third round is a Tate Ratledge from Alabama, who I'm going to preview. Some of these guys' names you'll hear me preview over the next few weeks. And they've got a grade of like 6.7, 6.9, 6.8. There's 3, 4, 5 guys in that second round that, are sitting there with a grade very similar to Gray Zabel. So what do you do?
So here's a couple of questions.
You take the best available player with the best available grade, who is in your 15 years of doing this, in your 30 years of doing this. This is your business. This is what we do. We take emotion out. We have a hard, fast grade, so we can go in there and not make the wrong decisions. We're all on the same page.
I refuse to believe that in 2025. With everything that has been, all the resources that are poured into the NFL and the billions of dollars generated in that league and the millions of dollars being made by all of the decision makers in that league, with all of the pressure and all of the focus and everything that goes into this 3-day event in the draft, I refuse to believe that it's as simple as just grading players. It just doesn't make any sense. You're telling me that you just give every player a grade, and then at the end of it, you're like, well, 8.4, 7.2. Guess we go with 8.4.
Okay, so can I pause you before you get emotional? Before you get emotional.
I'm not getting emotional.
Not time to get emotional.
I'm literally being specifically the opposite of
Michael,
that.
we got to separate emotion from business. We're talking business.
I don't believe that in 2025 that it's that simple.
Is it in baseball with these 2080s? When I see all these scouts, and by the way, this team, Regis Jesuit, this powerhouse out in Denver, who's got 8 kids all committed to D1 schools, including Vanderbilt.
Not, because
and
they
all
have
of a
different
sudden,
positions they play.
Those scouts, they all put their grades on those players.
It is not that simple.
And here's 5 tools, and we rate you in these 5 tools because we've done this for 50 years.
No.
So we have a pretty good baseline of what this should look like?
No, it's not.
All right.
It just isn't, and nor should it be. I don't believe it's that simple in football. You're telling me that there's no value put on positions? Of course there is. That there's no, and you just mentioned it yourself, that there's no thought to what else is available in that draft and what you could get later. Of course there is. So again, like I think that
what you get later has to all have grades on it. All has to have a perspective
I'm not saying you don't
what
have
is
a
later
grade,
tied to what is in front of you.
But
so
looking
you
at
do
wide
have a
receiver
single.
versus wide receiver, sure, okay, yes, you've got to have grades in order to help you determine which wide receiver you would prefer.
Yes, and
but comparing a wide receiver to a guard and just looking at their overall grade is insanity to me. There's no way that's what they're doing. You have to have some sort of weighted value to different positions. Otherwise, you're comparing apples to oranges, which doesn't make any sense.
So that is what you're looking for, and that is what I will try to determine over the next 2 to 3 weeks and talking to people that are in those war rooms. And what you're basically talking about is, do you put like a premium? Okay, so here's your neighborhood. right? Here's your valuation. Here's the price of your home. And you know what? Do you get a little bump for a view? Do you get a little bump for waterfront? Do you get a little bump for, a better school that's closer to this home than it is to that home? The little premiums then that you, build onto there. Yeah, I think I would imagine you would have to do that for the need that everybody has for offensive
You're calling
linemen.
me Michael like you're lecturing me. What is going on here? I'm being very calm and describing an opinion. You're accusing me of being emotional and lecturing me and calling me by my full name.
Just listen to your
What's
volume.
What's the matter with you?
The audience can hear your volume.
What is the matter with you today?
Maura, Lyle, do you hear the volume in his voice?
Oh,
Do you hear the octave?
That's called oratory.
Did you hear
let me explain oratory.
Did you hear
to
the Passan octave?
Friend.
We're going to call it the Passan octave. Did you hear the Passan octave? As it gets amplified there with a little bit of emotion, because Salk, I guess I waver between Michael and Salk, because Salk, when you get a little ramped up, I feel like it's a little more personal,
right?
Rather than just, hey man, this is a dilemma that everybody in this league is all falls under. There's not enough of these linemen for these teams.
But that's why I don't think you can be as simple as best available versus need. It just, there has to be a third category where you're weighting your value. And I know you don't like the word value. Okay, let's come up with a different word. But you've got to be weighting the players in some way based on the positions they play and the impact that position can have, not just in the NFL in general, but to your system specifically, right?
Okay, so, and I think that's fair. And then I think the next step of that is to say, well, of course they do this. Just look at the pay grades between different positions.
Absolutely agreed.
Right?
Yes.
And this is where you and, it wouldn't get personal with you and Clayton, right? You never got personal with him. You're right. I apologize. He never got mad when he would be so dug into his spots, and you'd be like, John, can't we look beyond? Well, this is just what the numbers are. This is just what safeties get paid. This is just what corners get paid. This is just what nickelbacks get paid. This is just kind of, again, the valuation that is put onto these positions, Salk, in I think a fairly hard and fast way.
Mm-hmm.
And the franchise tag really plays a role in that more than it does, I think, in the draft. Right, the franchise tag gives all of these teams and agents and players of kind of a starting point of, hey man, here's the top 5 at the position. This is what they're getting paid. I fit here. I fit there. You can argue where you fit, but this is the number. Yeah, I do imagine that behind the scenes there are different organizations that put different amount of premiums on different positions, and you've got to probably do that based on your scheme as well, right? So this kind of comes down to that whole alignment.
If you're not, you're doing a disservice.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not doing that, you're not doing the draft. I mean, you would be operating in the Stone Ages. So for the life of me, I can't imagine that it is as simple as, best available versus need. So once you kind of get beyond what I would consider to be a false dichotomy there, I think you have to start to consider what it is that they actually do want to do and how you're going to make a decision at number 18. It's why, for me, it would be insanity for them to take a wide receiver there, even if they think there's a great wide receiver there.
Mm-hmm. What if last year, I know, and by the way, DJ is going to be tomorrow.
Okay, perfect.
So for everybody staying in their car and, seeing if we can make this work tomorrow, he said, my bad. He's like an accountant right now. These poor accountants, they're just so buried right now. They're just busy. So tomorrow at 8:30, totally confirmed.
I think he said 7:30 tomorrow.
7:30 tomorrow. All right, we'll do an extended time with DJ. 7:30 tomorrow,
and we'll bump Blue 88 and everything else to 8:45. So I do feel like I've got a decent amount of information on this after the fact. I don't think I'm speaking out of turn, and if I am, then I will ask and beg for forgiveness. But last year, Salk, in that war room, if Byron Murphy would have got picked, if the Rams could have come up to 14 and traded and could have, taken Byron Murphy, who they really, really wanted, and you were sitting there at 16, there was a really strong possibility that the Seahawks were going to take the corner that Philly took in the first round that ended up being an unbelievable player. How would you have felt about it? Because
how would I have felt?
To their evaluation,
I would have banged my head against a wall.
And to their grade, it was like, this dude is a difference maker.
I would have banged my head against a wall.
Okay.
It would have been an awful decision.
Okay. You to have 2 lockdown corners and Devin Witherspoon and that guy.
Yes.
And those teams that threw for a bunch of big third downs.
It would have been an awful idea.
Okay.
I would have been incredibly frustrated.
Mm-hmm.
I would have
They
been.
may have, by the way, they may have traded down, and that guy, as it turns out, was still sitting there in the 20s. And you could point to Philadelphia going, well, Philadelphia does nothing but draft big people, right? No, they drafted 2 corners last year, and both those guys, one became a nickel and one became,
They draft other people and other types of players.
And wide receiver they've
But
drafted in the first round.
But Brock, they can do it because they have the big people.
Yep.
And
And you know what they would say? We were right on Cam Jurgens, right? We took him in the late second round, and we developed him. We were right with our left tackle.
Once you are right about those guys, it's a whole lot easier to go in the second round or first round and take a smaller player who operates farther away from the ball. Yeah, all right. If you've got Jalen Carter from the year before, it's a lot easier to go get a cornerback. But when you've decided to take Devin Witherspoon the year before, you are starting to box yourself in. So it's not need. You don't need a defensive tackle any more than you need a cornerback. But it has to be a level of value in trying to build a team where you're investing in the spots that are going to generate the most impact. And maybe that's ultimately the word I should use. Not best available, not need, impact. How are you going to impact your team? And maybe it takes a conversation of 10, 15 minutes to come up with it. But I think that's the word I'm going to start using.
Okay, good.
Impact.
Same word we've used for Mariners in their bats the last 3 years.
But in a completely different context.
Yep.
Impact. How are you going to impact this team? And I believe that players along the line of scrimmage are going to impact that team significantly more than a cornerback or a wide receiver. You need impact. And some of that is related to what's already on your roster. That doesn't make it need, but you do need to look at what you have versus, what you don't.
Okay, you know what word I'm going to use? And I'm glad we had this conversation. Sometimes there's great fruit born out of adverse situations. And, thought we had DJ and we're going to get him tomorrow at 7:30. You know what word I'm going to use, Salk? It's a word that word that the old Mike Mayock used with us a couple weeks ago. It is Mike. Alignment. And actually, these 20 minutes got my mind racing in so many different ways. I may argue the biggest challenge with the drafts for the Seahawks for a period of 5 or 6 years was a lack of alignment.
Okay.
That early on in the program with Pete and with John, it was a very clear vision. And with the really good Dan Quinn's and the triumvirate that was very successful in a Bevel and a K, there was alignment with the kind of player we need to fit this system. And as coaching drain, as lesser coordinators came in, as maybe Pete emotionally wanting players and pushing for players and demanding certain things as he wanted this thing, that maybe that alignment has fallen out of place in those years.
I think that's another good word to throw into this, and I would completely agree with that.
And as Mayock said, there's about 25 organizations out of 32 that are not aligned. The Dallas Cowboys are not aligned. When Jerry goes off yesterday talking about an esteemed agent, by the way, and is like, I don't even know his name. He don't even play a role in this. Micah Parsons, like, no, he actually does. And now you just totally, like Jenga, pull a piece out and make it very difficult on all the rest of us to stay aligned. And I think that alignment piece also has to be so critical in this evaluation. You better know exactly the kind of player you want for Ryan Grubb. You better know exactly the kind of player that you want for Mike McDonald.
Yeah.
And, when teams are just turning over and turning over and turning over and turning over, how can you possibly know exactly the kind of pieces to be aligned with what you totally want schematically?
Yeah, I think that's fine. Yeah, I would agree with that too. And maybe that needs to factor into this. But I'm going to keep coming back to this word impact and how you're going to impact the team. Text messages all over the map here, as you might expect. Banging your head into a wall might knock some sense into you, Salk. I like that one. That's funny. Salk, are you even listening to Brock? He already said it's not just comparing grades. You're comparing the disparity in grades with the depth and value later in the draft at the positions of need. Totally understand that. Yes, I did hear that. But I think it even goes beyond it. The other side of this, Salk, you're absolutely right. If Christian Haynes would have hit this past year, then go right ahead and draft a wide receiver. But he didn't. So now you have a position of great impact that unfortunately has not been solved.
But did he not hit because he was asked to do things? Again, this is
I don't
more
know
of a
the
question
answer to
in
that.
football than it is in baseball. I really do believe that now. It really is. Like, did he not hit because he was asked to do things within a scheme that he's just not good at?
I don't know the answer to that question.
Yep.
But because it's not just Christian Haynes, it's his brother Phil Haynes and all of the other guys that have had the same problem and the same conversation around them. Until they get it right, I think they need to keep putting the resources at it. Maybe Christian Haynes does get it right. Maybe he is going to be the guy that they thought he would be when they drafted him a year ago. Great. I still think
maybe he just doesn't have the lower power and the lower body strength.
Brock,
yeah.
I'm willing to suggest that he will. That with the right coaching, he will be the guy that they wanted him to be. They should still draft an offensive lineman.
Yeah,
They should still continue to invest in positions that are going to have more impact than in ones that aren't.
If you're Kevin Costner on draft day, and we'll be there 3 weeks from tomorrow. Holy cow, this thing is going to come fast. And you're Kevin Costner in the VMAC there on draft day. Does Salk write on a note card and put in his pocket a first-round offensive lineman at all costs? No.
No, I don't.
You don't?
I don't, because I do think that there are other positions that can truly impact. It's not just need. Obviously, that's the position of greatest need. But if you have a defensive lineman that you think has greater impact on the game than whatever offensive linemen are available there, and you do think that you can get suitable or similar offensive linemen in the second round, I'm with you. I wouldn't do that for a wide receiver, but I might do it for a defensive tackle. I might do it if the right tight end was there. If you thought that it was a guy that was going to also really affect your running game and the things you say are important to you.
Do you think we'd feel different if we had a CeeDee Lamb, a Jordan Jefferson, a guy at the very top of this league that just is? Do you think our optics and our vision would be a little different?
I don't think so, no.
You don't think so?
I really don't. Mine would not be. I'm just not sold on that as being like the relevant piece to get you over the top into a championship. So we will talk to DJ. We'll get more involved in this tomorrow. We'll ask him about impact, availability, need, and a whole lot more as we talk to Daniel Jeremiah tomorrow morning at 7:30. Coming up next, Brock, you want to talk about impact? Let's go to situations and places where sometimes the impact needs to occur and does not. It sure happened last night, and it's next on Brock and Salk.
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Bob. Weekdays 2 to 7.
We feel like they have the players, but do they have it on the offensive line? That's a huge question mark.
The only thing that I guess keeps me from being too anxious about the line, when they see a problem, they tend to rectify it right there. I mean, both of your offseason acquisitions at linebacker didn't make it to the end of the season. Why would that be any different with the O-line? If you looked at somebody on that line and said, this guy just does not have it, he'd be gone.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
You've heard the saying, you never get a second chance to make a first impression. Since 1926, my family's been helping local businesses make great first, second, and long-term impressions. We know how to make your company look good with quality uniforms, logoed apparel, floor mats, linens, and more. If you're paying for linen service or doing it yourself, let's have the conversation. The information and quote are free, but the savings and service can really add up. Visit suplinen.com. Superior Linen Service. It's what we do.
Protein, protein, protein. Everyone is trying to get protein in their diet, but we need fats too. Healthy fat, that is, like the rich, natural peanut and almond butters found in G2G protein bars. Most bars don't have it because, well, most bars aren't real food or refrigerated. Fortunately for you, we aren't most bars. At G2G, you'll find a balanced helping of protein and healthy fat. The fact that they're delicious is just the bonus. They're fast, easy, and perfect for on-the-go families. G2G protein bars. Find them in the refrigerated section at Costco.
Are you looking at diversification and stability with your investment portfolio, especially with the volatility right now in the stock market? Hi, I'm Scott Riereka, CEO of Legacy Group Capital based in Bellevue. We've been running local real estate investment funds for over 18 years. We've had 0 investor losses and have averaged double-digit returns since inception. Maybe it's time to take a little risk off the table given market conditions. For stability, there's no better option than Legacy Group's Northwest Fund, a fixed return of 9%. Legacy's Northwest Fund also accepts IRA accounts as well. Find out why over 1,000 local investors have invested over $250 million in our Legacy family of funds. Get in touch with us today. Legacy's Northwest Fund returning 9% has limited opening for new investors right now.
Call 425-635-4700 or visit legacyg.com. That's legacyg.com. This is not investment advice. Legacy investments available to accredited investors only. Details at legacyg.com.
Get one free set of brake pads when you buy 2 brake rotors. Visit O'Reilly Auto Parts. Offer in-store only. Restrictions apply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
How can you free your team from time-consuming office tasks? Amazon Business.
Smart business buying tools enable buyers to find and purchase items fast so they can focus on strategy and growth. Free up your team and focus on your future. Learn more at AmazonBusiness.com.
Testing.
We're live from Chick-fil-A.
This is Grant.
And this is Laura.
And a little thing we love about the Chick-fil-A Smokehouse Barbecue Bacon Sandwich is that sweet bun.
And that chicken filet was perfectly crispy and soft at the same time.
And that Smokehouse Barbecue sauce, it's a lot of fun. And the brown sugar bacon definitely had a little bit more pizzazz. Also, the Mac, one of the all-time greats. Man, I'm getting hungry.
Order the Smokehouse Barbecue Bacon Sandwich and a Coca-Cola on the Chick-fil-A app for a limited time. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
Testing.
We're live from Chick-fil-A.
This is Grant.
And this is Laura.
And a little thing we love about the Chick-fil-A Smokehouse Barbecue Bacon Sandwich is that sweet bun.
And that chicken filet was perfectly crispy and soft at the same time.
And that Smokehouse Barbecue sauce, it's a lot of fun. And the brown sugar bacon definitely had a little bit more pizzazz. Also, the Mac, one of the all-time greats. Man, I'm getting hungry.
Order the Smokehouse Barbecue Bacon Sandwich and a Coca-Cola on the Chick-fil-A app for a limited time. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting great candidates? Well, they're not hard to find when you go to ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. People who are actively looking for jobs like yours. So it's easy to find the right person fast. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
All right, keep up. It's me, the radar gun at T-Mobile Park. And these Mariners pitchers have me working overtime. 3 all-star aces, Logan Gilbert, Luis Castillo, and George Kirby throwing absolute gas.
Holy smokes, what a performance. Strikeout number 10 on the night.
And don't forget about Bryce Miller and Brian Wu, the young guns. Those guys get me fired all the way up.
Swing and a miss. Strike 3 and 95-mile-an-hour fastball.
And just when you think you'd survive, here comes Andres Munoz dialing up triple digits and shutting the door. Oh boy, I'm giddy just thinking about it.
Back-to-back strikeouts, and the ball game is over.
Trust me, you're going to want to grab a seat and feel the speed for yourself. And there we go again. I got to make sure my batteries are charged. Mariners baseball. Try and some.
The Mariners have an incredible slate of promos all month long. Don't miss the Cal Platinum Glove Bobblehead giveaway Monday, April 7th through Wednesday, April 9th. Corduroy Hat Night presented by Alaska Airlines Friday, April 11th, and more. Go to mariners.com/promos to get your tickets and check out the complete lineup.
Let's go!
This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports.
Get in the freaking auto!
From the Quantum Fiber Studio, this is Brock and Salk on Seattle Sports.
Brock Heward and Matt Marcus. Sorry about just Mike.
Heward, not exactly Joe Cap there in the pocket.
Now here are your hosts, Brock Heward and Mike Salk.
Frustrating night for the Mariners and all of their fans. Watching that game last night, a few things struck me, Brock, and we've talked about some of it and maybe go into a little bit more detail. I opened the show at 6. We talked about it again at 7 by talking through some of the mental mistakes, and that does drive me crazy just because it is within your control. I understand we're going to talk more about the offense, and there's every reason to be frustrated by it. But going in on another 30-minute rant about how the offense isn't very good, it doesn't serve anybody other than to, sort of momentary frustration. I will say that beyond that, because, again, I do think it's hard to control offense. Mm-hmm. You want them to be better at it, but each at bat, there's a lot of stuff that's out of your control. Throwing the ball to the right base in the right way is absolutely within your control. Not even just I'm not even talking about Polanco and some of the struggles with his ability to play third base. I'm talking about Randy Arozarena and Victor Robles last night making a throw at the wrong time to the wrong spot. Mm-hmm. You got to hit your cutoff man in that spot. If you're not going to, that's a mental decision, not a physical ability, a mental decision. Am I going to try to throw the runner out at home or not? And you got to hit the cutoff man. Because the moment Robles' throw is up the line, guess what happens? Runner goes from first to second, and then he scores on the next at bat.
So 1 on and 2 outs, no score. Here's Kerry Carpenter. Be careful with this guy. Great left-handed bat. Swinging one hopper into right field for a base hit. Green rounding third, heading home. Up the ball is Robles. The throw to the plate is going to be wide. Cal has to go get it. Goes off his glove. A run scores, and Carpenter winds up on its second base.
That's the problem.
And you can hear it in Rizzer's voice right there. That's 40 years of calling baseball right there. You hear it in the first inning with Rizzer's voice. You hear it with Aaron Goldsmith. These guys that are so good at what they do, and they know how hard this game is, and they don't make it anything personal, and they don't take shots at those guys, but listen to the way that Rizzer called that at the end, and you know you can't do that.
Well, you got to do the things that aren't hard.
That's right. You can't give that guy an extra base right now. You made the game too easy for him. It's a 3-2 pitch JP had last night late in the game, or middle innings. It was way out of the strike zone. You don't even make that guy, force him to make a judgment. That's too easy. Like that guy then gets a free base because you didn't even make it difficult on him.
Yeah.
And you didn't pressure them and pressurize them and make them earn it when you give them a couple extra bases.
Yeah, that really kind of drove me nuts last night. If you're going to be a run prevention team, which, look, even if the offense is improved, we all know and want them to be. I still want them to be a run prevention team. I want them to score more, but you have one of the great pitching staffs in baseball, which is going to give you a chance to win every night. That's a smart way to build a baseball team. You got to back that up, and you've got to make the right decision so that,
So were those guys pressing? You feel like Robles and Rosarena right from the first inning? We got Logan on the hill. We got our ace. We're coming off of some struggles here. Are they trying to, this is the old trying too hard.
I can't answer it, but
is this a QB throwing into coverage because I'm trying to make a play rather than just throw the check down and make the right play. I'm trying to kind of force the issue and be aggressive.
I can't answer it. I don't know the intent. Right? I mean, that's asking us to get into the head of a Rosarena or Victor Robles, and I don't know the answer to that. I just know that that's within their control.
Yeah.
You got to hit the cutoff, man. You got to control what you can control and not do more than that and then get yourself in trouble. Now, the other side of this is the things that are hard. Because it's not that hard to hit the cutoff man. A professional right fielder, left fielder can hit a cutoff man. They're fully capable of it. It's not like trying to hit, a guy who was picked first overall in the draft a few years ago who does have some nasty stuff. That's hard. You're still ultimately judged on whether or not you can do it, but it's hard even for the best athletes in the world to do it. It's not hard for them to hit a cutoff man. They can absolutely do that 10 times out of 10 if they want to. You just need to make it a priority, and you need to have your mind in the right spot in order to do it. The other side of this is, as you were sort of starting to get into there, and that is just the situational awareness and the moments that can go one way or another. I was struck by it last night. This is not new. This is not a genius observation, I promise. But it is incredible how situations are important in all sports. The specific little moments in games that can completely change the result of an entire game, right?
Yep.
In basketball, football, hockey, it's pretty easy to see how some guys step up or don't step up in those moments because they consistently score, they consistently throw a touchdown, they consistently hit big shots, Steph Curry, Michael Jordan, that's pretty easy to see. Baseball is such a game of numbers and percentages and is played out over such a large number of time and at-bats that I do believe to an extent, and this is the debate I was hoping to have with you guys, I do believe to an extent that luck and timing do play a huge factor in how those moments go. That in the case last night, what was it, the first or second inning?
Second inning.
Right? Rayleigh comes up, second and third, 2 outs. That's your opportunity to get right back into the game. You're down, 3-0 at that point? He comes up with a single. It's 3-2. You're right back in that game, and you'll take your chances the rest of the way and see what happens. Instead, he strikes out, and it kind of felt, I know it was too early, but it sure felt at that point like that game was probably, you were never going to recover. Luke Rayleigh's going to strike out X percentage of times. Did he strike out in that moment because it was his 1 out of 4 times where he's going to strike out? Or did he strike out in that moment because it's a bigger, situation in the game and he presses or the pitcher bears down or whatever? I think that's one of the great debates that exists in baseball.
Yeah.
Right? Is it just a matter of luck and timing and when your hits come? there's an argument to be made that that's the case, and a lot of sabermetricians have made that argument for a long time. Or is it that,
better
you can
players
be coached,
deliver in those moments?
Yes, to figure out how to handle things differently in the moments that matter more.
Mm-hmm.
Where are you on that?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny that the name that comes to my mind, actually, as you were talking there, is Geno Smith. Geno Smith's numbers, right? Who was it a week ago we had on? Like, it was Mike Robb. Like, he's a great player. 70% completion, 4,000 yards. Like, the only way you get to that is being a really good player. Moves the ball up and down the field. He's, and you can rattle off all the numbers. And then you're like, yeah, but when it mattered in the red zone, there were like 15 interceptions.
But I know you can do that. I understand that in football. I have no doubt about that in football. That situations matter, clutch matters, all of that, and you see it every day.
Yes.
Does it matter in baseball? Do players need to play those moments differently, or is it just simply a matter of timing?
Yeah. It kind of strikes me. I would land a little more on the better the player, the better they'll be in those moments. And Passan kind of alluding to that yesterday when he talked about all these top war players. They just find a way to put the ball in play. They just don't strike out. And I'm not even talking strikeouts in this moment, but you know what I'm saying. They just find a way that the better you are with your barrel, the better you are putting that barrel to the bat, the better you are, just there. You're going to, in those moments, deliver more than an average role player like a Dylan
is that just
Moore and a
because
Luke
you're going
Raley
to deliver more anyway? I mean, like, is it because you're a 300 hitter and an 850 OPS guy, or is it because those moments become bigger to you? Lyle, I want to ask you, because you're as dedicated to the math side of baseball as anyone in this building. What is it? Is there a moment where does Luke Raley have to handle that moment differently? And I'm just picking on him because it happened to show up last night. It could be anybody. This isn't a Luke Raley conversation. But does a player need to handle that moment differently with men on second and third? 2 outs in a game where you kind of, it might get away from you quickly? Or is it just a matter of, hey, sometimes he's going to get a hit, sometimes he's going to strike out, and those percentages are just going to happen when they happen?
I feel like it's the latter, just because aren't you supposed to take every at bat in the same way? Don't they tell you not to deviate? Don't they tell you not to, make more of a moment than it is? And if you do, that's how you get caught up in things?
Maybe,
but isn't a pitcher going to be sharper in those moments too, knowing that,
I would think so.
Yeah.
Pitchers
and now Luke
don't
Raley,
pitch
by the
same
way,
way each time.
Luke Raley last year, then flashed that number up there, over 300 runners in scoring position last year. Like 100, almost 100 points better than he hit with his average.
So I think
70 points better.
And then baseball people will say, was that just because of luck? He happened to come up with the hits at those times. And if you give it more time than just those the small sample size, that will change and revert back to roughly what his. I think for years I've tried to fully believe that argument that it's just a matter of numbers. I can't get there. I just can't quite get there. I do think, and it's a reason that of all the old school stats, the one that I do still look at actually probably more than any other is RBI. I know it sounds ridiculous, and I grant that there's, if Keith Law were here, some other folks, they'd probably destroy me. I still look at RBI. I think that finding a way to drive runners in big moments does matter.
Yep.
I know it's not entirely up to you. I know that there's probably a better stat that would indicate it, because I know it's not your responsibility to get people on base in front of you. I get all that. But I still think that it's relevant how well you do.
You're delivering.
You got to drive in runs. If you're a run producer, you got to drive in runs.
High school basketball or baseball game yesterday that I watched. Listen to the third base coach, runner on third, hit the ball hard the other way. Like, just do your job. Do your job.
And in that moment, Raley, in this case, it could have been anybody.
Yep.
That is the whole point of this whole Edgar thing of that's when you got to use the big part of the ballpark. That's where you got to make contact. The Mariners only struck out 7 times yesterday. I'm not, how I feel about these strikeouts. It's not the number that bothers me. It's the win. You can't strike out there. You can strike out 12 times in a game. You know who struck out more than the Mariners did yesterday? The Tigers. But in big moments, they found ways to get hits, and then the strikeouts don't mean so much. It's a matter of when, not just the total. Anyway, we got to take a break. I'm sorry. We're super late, but I could chat about this forever. More is going to take us around the NFL in about 20 minutes. We'll give you everything you need to know next on Brock and Salk.
For Down Territory, going inside the game with former Cougs and Seahawks wide receiver Michael Bumpus.
The NFL is trying to clean up the game. What do they want to emphasize, and how do you feel about it?
The NFL wants to bring in more sportsmanship. And I understand they're saying, look, we want kids watching the game to learn from these guys. And listen, it is a good idea. But the ball player in me says, Man, forget all that noise. This is football.
For Down Territory, every day at 11:15 and 1:15 on Bumpin' Stacy.
Hey, Brock Ewart here from my friends at PCF Group, or People Come First Construction Group, and that's exactly what they did when we made the call a couple years ago. We wanted to redo our outdoor space, wanted to add a deck, an outdoor living, a television, and a kitchen. And PCF Group, wow, they more than delivered. And if you're interested in building a stunning outdoor area like we did, I cannot recommend them enough. Reach out before the good weather arrives, and their schedule, well, it's going to fill up. So whether you're looking for a complete outdoor living space or a very specific project like an underdeck ceiling, deck, patio cover, railings, PCF has you covered. Design now and pay later. In fact, get 12 months, no interest and no payments, and up to $6,000 off and a $1,000 Amazon gift card. Request a complimentary design and estimate consultation at 425-629-8476 or project ideas. Explore photos at pcfgroup.com. That's 425-629-8476.
Rick Riz here for the Pella Windows and Doors of Western Washington's Improve Your Play program. Many of our local youth sports teams need help with field enhancements, training, and equipment. Local Pella owners Keith Dashafy and Luke Wilson are stepping up to donate $5,000 to 2 deserving teams. We need your help finding them. Head to seattlesports.com/play to nominate a deserving team in need. Let's help our local youth improve their play this year with Pella Windows and Doors of Western Washington. Contest and rules at seattlesports.com/play.
Quarterback Jordan Love isn't just on Green Bay's team. He's also on the American Family Insurance team. Because like us, he believes in dreaming fearlessly.
Just chase your dreams and don't let nobody hold you back.
And we help protect those dreams with the right coverage so you can
dream fearlessly.
American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Who's cutting down the nets this year? Get in on all the tournament action at ESPN Bet Sportsbook. Go from tracking the latest upsets to placing bets in just a few taps. Right now, new customers can get $100 in bonus bets when you make your first $10 wager. Download the ESPN Bet Sportsbook app and sign up with promo code JQ to get started today. Must be 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details. Offer not available in New York.
Why choose Home Comfort Alliance? Because your comfort is their promise. Hey, it's John Curley. Home Comfort Alliance promises you reliable heating, air conditioning, plumbing, and electrical services, all from one company you can trust. So do what I did. Call the comfort people at Home Comfort Alliance for all your heating, cooling, plumbing, and electrical needs. Visit homecomfortalliance.com and tell them John Curley sent you. That's homecomfortalliance.com.
It's our 23rd anniversary, and we're celebrating by giving you the chance to become a millionaire. That's right, a chance at $1 million. Join us on this road to riches every Saturday in April with 2 winners drawn every hour from 4 to 9 p.m. But the fun doesn't stop there. At 10 p.m. on the 26th, we're giving away a 2025 Mercedes-Benz worth $50,000. Don't forget, your Reef Rewards card can save you up to 25 cents per gallon at Lummi Bay Market next to Silver Reef. Silver Reef Casino Resort, located off I-5 exit 260.
The John Schneider Show.
Every Thursday until draft day on Wyman and Bob.
Listen live Thursdays at 4 p.m. or watch the interviews on the Seattle Sports YouTube page.
Washington State has the 3rd highest cost of living in the nation. If Olympia politicians raise taxes again, the cost of everything from groceries and gas to housing will go up even more. They've already doubled spending over 10 years, with little to show for it. Washington State needs lower costs, not higher taxes. Demand smarter state spending now at affordablewashington.org. Paid for by people for an affordable Washington and Olympia, Washington. Top 5 donors are Washington Alliance for Competitive Economy, Microsoft, Madrona, T-Mobile, and Alaska Air.
Hi, this is Nancy Penrose, owner of Big Trees in Snohomish. Spring has sprung. Need color to brighten up your yard or privacy trees to keep your neighbors guessing? Now is the time to buy. With hundreds of trees arriving in the nursery daily, Big Trees has the perfect tree for you. Check out our updated inventory list online at bigtreesupply.com or come visit the nursery today.
I've always been a super athletic guy, but after I turned 40, I noticed I was slowing down. Instead of hitting the gym after work, I spent my evenings on the couch with a bag of chips. I was gaining weight, losing muscle, and when I did try to work out, I ran out of energy right away. One of my buddies suggested I book a free testosterone check at Revive Health, and that's when I learned that low T doesn't just impact how guys perform in the bedroom. I worked with a provider to create my custom treatment plan, and today I'm feeling stronger than ever. Last week, I even set a new PR at the gym. My only regret is not reaching out sooner.
If you're ready to book your free T-check, visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com or call 206-529-1111. Again, that's 206-529-1111.
Need to know.
15 minutes past every hour with Brock and Salk.
Here's what you need to know. Up first.
Well, it was a rough night for the Mariners. We've talked through it quite a bit, but obviously the offense was anemic. They score just one run. They generate just one hit. Casey Mize was, unfortunately, completely dominant. But, yeah, now it's time to move forward. You got one more chance here to avoid a sweep. And it's not going to be easy because you got to do it against the best pitcher in the American League, reigning Cy Young Award winner Tarik Skubal. But Luis Castillo has been the ace of this staff. Sure would be nice to see him have a vintage Luis Castillo, put my team on my back kind of day.
You know, and it's just baseball sometimes, because what if they come out today and some of those line drives
could happen?
They fall through there. What if they get a couple runners on? They deliver early. All of a sudden, here's a 3-run bomb. Here's a 2-run bomb. All of a sudden, they put 5. You know, like it's just the beauty of this sport, man. As aggravating as it can be, and man, has it been pretty aggravating start offensively. Not getting it done with runners in scoring position, not putting up crooked numbers, doing no damage to anybody's starting pitcher. As aggravating as all that is for 6 games, it can turn on one matinee against the best pitcher in all of baseball.
I would love to see that happen with a 1 o'clock start this afternoon.
Here's the second thing you need to know.
Make some interesting roster moves yesterday. Jorge Polanco going to miss a couple days. Congratulations to him and his family as they are celebrating the birth of their child. Leo Rivas called up to take his place, and then Miles Mastroboni got the start at third base last night. Much more maybe surprising, interesting is the way they handled the Emerson Hancock thing. Now, look, after a start like that where you only go 2/3 of an inning and you got to blow out the bullpen, someone's going to get sent down, and it's not necessarily personal. It's that you need to bring up another fresh arm. What if Logan Gilbert had gotten hurt in the first inning yesterday? Like, you needed a Jonathan Diaz to be there ready just in case, right? And that's going to be true after anything like that. But I was a little surprised that it was Hancock. I honestly expected it to be one of the relievers.
Because he goes down, and by rule, he's got to be down for 15 days.
15 days. Unless there is an injury to a starting pitcher who goes to the IL, he's got to be down there for 15 days. It's sort of like putting him on the IL in that regard. You can't just bring him right back. So I assumed that it would be Saucedo, who to me is much more replaceable in that bullpen than your 6th starter is, because now you got to go to Jonathan Diaz or Casey Lawrence or maybe the other Luis Castillo. So as it turns out, according to Dan Wilson, it sounds anyway, at least this is trying to read into what he had to say, like it was more about Hancock than anything else.
You know, we're going to bring Jonathan Diaz up for the bullpen help that we may need tonight. And it's a tough pill to swallow. There's no question about it. And you know, Emerson had such a great spring and pitched with a lot of confidence, came here with a lot of confidence, and you know, really just wanting him to go down and continue that confident route, continue to refine what he does. I think he's had a great mental approach, and you know, his stuff has been really good. So just needs to continue to refine that.
Right? Isn't that a little surprising?
Let me do that here. Like, let me just stay in some rhythm. Let me get another start here.
I don't know what else he has to prove at AAA. I don't know. I was surprised by it. Yeah. Maybe there's more to that conversation that we don't know about. I think often when surprising moves like that happen, there's more that we don't fully understand, but it definitely took me by surprise yesterday, that's for sure.
Here's the third thing you need to know.
By the way, speaking of the minors, have you looked at the roster for Everett? We're going to have to go some games in Everett. And you better do it quick because those guys aren't going to be here long. Colt Emerson, Laz Montez, Michael Arroyo, Jorangelo Saincha, all going to start the year at Everett.
Ty
Pete. I mean, when he's eventually healthy, you'll put
Johnny Farmello.
Johnny Farmello there as well. those guys they might only be here a month, right? I mean,
I hope so. I hope
right.
they're all awesome. I
Exactly.
I hope they all produce and they get bumped up to Arkansas. And yeah.
How fun would that be? A Durangelo St. Just start day when you go and you see all those guys in the lineup. That'd be pretty cool.
Or a Durangelo St. Just bullpen day where he comes in and throws from the left side just for kicks. It's pretty cool. All right, that's everything you need to know. 1/4 every hour here on the Brock and Salk Show.
You see that video? Did you look at that little text I sent you late last night? The little video that Jay Glazer had from the league meetings with all the coaches, and then there was one that had some voice control issues. He was a little louder. He was a little louder than the rest.
A little issues with the volume.
Yeah, a little volume control issues. And then there was poor Andy Reid in like his 1989 Tommy Bahama shirt, just kind of sitting there looking a little lost with all the young hipsters. And you are reminded, as paranoid as that league is, right? And especially during draft time and all the information, everything else, the fraternal, just kind of communal element of coaches, right? All the connective tissue those guys have in the Shanahan tree, all working together somewhere along the line. Many of them working for Andy Reid. I mean, you kind of see it in that group setting. Was kind of a fun video.
We're going to go around the NFL in a minute. Then we've got trash takes to finish it up. We'll see if Brock does another women's basketball take that he's wrong about. We'll see. Before that, I should at least mention, Brock, we haven't talked about it. And Casey sent in a text saying, hey, what's your favorite Val Kilmer role? I think I know what Brock's is. Doing the bite, the Iceman bite.
That's it.
Yes.
Yep. Second place in the ladies' room.
The only other one I think would Jim Morrison maybe.
Did you ever see his documentary?
No.
Wow, what a wild journey.
Yeah,
wild ride.
Don't you think Doc Holliday has to be on the list though? Like as great as Iceman is, Doc Holliday. I mean, I don't know that I would put. It's 1 and 1A. I'm with you. I don't.
Great as Jim Morrison too now.
He's great as Jim Morrison. I'll tell you, if you're a weird movie, Salt on Sea, like he's a great actor.
Yep.
But I think Doc Holliday for me is next after Iceman. Like he's so freaking good as Doc Holliday. The accent and just the affectation. I don't know. I think that might end up being my answer. All right, trash takes coming up in 20. We'll take you around a crazy week in the NFL next.
I'll be your Huckleberry.
Seattle Sports, your home for Bump and Stacy. Weekdays 10 to 2.
What might be different with Dan Wilson? The type of baseball that feels slightly more sustainable. Like when they won last year, this is what it looked like.
Yeah.
Maybe you score late, maybe your run production is in an inning, maybe two. It's usually bombs, and then your pitching is elite enough to hold the other team to 2 or less.
Bombs won the game. But we know the philosophy of this team is kind of just put the ball in play and advance these runners.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
All right, let's talk Crawl Pros this time of year as there's been a plenty of rain, especially at night. It feels like every night it's just pouring out. I wake up and the ground is sopping wet. Well, all of that water has to go somewhere, and the spring rain can wreak havoc on your crawl space. If rain or groundwater makes its way in, well, you could have all kinds of problems, right? Structural damage, toxic mold, to name a couple. Well, Crawl Pros, man, they can keep your crawl space dry. They can install the sump pump, drainage, reroute that water back out and away from your home, take care of any mold that may have been created, and yes, even address any plumbing issues that you might have had in your crawl space because of it. They can learn what's going on behind that crawl space and attic hatch, and it's free. They'll stop by and figure it out and give you a full corner-to-corner inspection, tell you what needs to be done, and then if you want them to, they'll do it. That's exactly what they did at my house. So if you're worried about water damage or mold, insulation, critters, anything else related to your crawl space or attic, call Crawl Pros or visit crawlpros.com to schedule that free inspection at crawlpros.com.
John here with Happy Hauler. We want to help get your unwanted items to those in need. Furniture and household items you plan on throwing away? We'll take them and prioritize donating and recycling, keeping items out of the landfill, and giving useful items a second happy home. Happy Hauler is Seattle's eco-friendly junk removal. We work with over 20 nonprofits all over Western Washington to donate used items. Make yourself, your community, and the planet happy. Reclaim your space. HappyHauler.com, hauling with a heart.
Did you know that your windows and doors are your main source of energy loss? At Lake Washington Windows and Doors, our windows with triple weather shipping and gasket seals are up to 25% more efficient than Energy Star standards. LakeWashingtonWindows.com, a name you can trust.
You never get a second chance to make a first impression. Superior Linen Service will help your company with logoed apparel, uniforms, floor mats, linen, and more. Give us a call. We answer the phone. Superior Linen Service. It's what we do. Visit suplinen.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is for you too. Stubborn fat is really hard to get rid of, and then there's all those gimmicky lasers, fat freezing methods, and prescriptions. Imagine a simple solution that takes just one day and provides immediate noticeable results. Introducing ProSculpt. ProSculpt uses air-assisted technology that's safe and gentle yet powerful, delivering instant fat-reducing and skin-tightening results. Performed by board-certified plastic surgeons while fully awake, ProSculpt contours your body with minimal downtime. It's designed to target those problem areas: waistline, neck, face, arms, thighs. ProSculpt gently removes unwanted fat and tightens loose skin with FDA-cleared plasma technology, all in a simple, guaranteed one-day procedure. ProSculpt is one and done. Schedule your free consultation at prosculpt.com for $250 off. For powerful permanent fat removal and skin tightening that works for ladies and you men, it's prosculpt.com.
At Uline, they know firsthand the road to success is an uphill climb. Uline started in the family basement, and through hard work is now North America's most trusted shipping and industrial supplier. They get what it means to have the support of reliable, hard-working partners. So they keep 41,000 items ready to ship. Whether your company is still in a basement office or expanding cross-country, Uline will be there on your road to success. Visit uline.com.
Subscribe to the Seattle Sports YouTube page to find new and exclusive content from your favorite shows and personalities daily. Just head to YouTube, search Seattle Sports, and click subscribe.
Will new tariffs impact small businesses? Rising costs and economic uncertainty can hurt your bottom line. But with Swish Funding, your business can stay strong. We offer fast, flexible funding solutions from $10,000 to $2 million for working capital, cash flow, and more, and as little as 24 hours with no collateral needed. If your business earns at least $50,000 per month and has been around for over a year, you could qualify today. Go to swishradio.com and use code GROW. swishradio.com, code GROW.
Hey, fellow Gen Xers, it's Elizabeth Banks. Big news! The recommended age for pneumococcal pneumonia vaccination has been lowered to 50 and older, even if you're healthy. It's up to us to lead the charge. After all, we gave the world the internet. We're trailblazers. Let's lead the way again, because we are at over 6 times greater risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Gen X, this is our shot. Head to vaxassist.com and schedule today. That's vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
No matter how old you get, you always remember that one great teacher. Hi, this is Rick Riz, inviting you to join WSECU in celebrating Teacher of the Week. Great teachers inspire. Nominate a teacher you feel has changed a life in our community. This year, we're going to honor 24 great teachers with grants of $500, courtesy of WSECU, the credit union for Washington. Teachers are the real MVPs. Nominate an exceptional teacher now at mynorthwest.com/teacher.
Swedish Cyberknife is expanding. Dave Wyman with exciting news about Swedish adding a second Cyberknife in Seattle. Cyberknife is a non-invasive, extremely precise prostate cancer radiotherapy treatment. Compared with other radiation therapies, which last 6 to 9 weeks, the Cyberknife treatment period is much shorter, typically 5 days with daily sessions under an hour. Treat prostate cancer with Swedish Cyberknife. Swedish.org/Cyberknife Prostate.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Brock and Salk.
Weekdays 6 to 10.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
All right, Trash Takes coming up in 15 minutes. I'm excited to once again put on my Trash Master costume and determine which of your bad takes that you found around the internet this week were the worst. As the master of bad takes, there's nobody more qualified to judge than me. So we'll do that coming up here in 15 minutes. First, though, Maura, it's the owners' weekend or the owners' meetings all this week. Maybe you could take us around the NFL.
Sure. We've already talked about a few of these this morning, so I'm going to try to start with some that we haven't really gotten to. Brock touched on Jerry Jones.
What is this music then?
That's around the weekend.
It's around the weekend music. I took Give me a minute to get around the NFL music.
What was that? What was that?
That's around the weekend. You're not here for
familiar
that.
with that. It's
Well, that's
6:30
'cause
on
you don't
Mondays
wake up
mornings.
early.
Yeah. Okay.
That's a Monday morning 6:30 music.
Okay.
It's around the weekends.
Give me a minute.
The other one
if you
is,
want
Lyle?
This one's actually around the NFL.
Lyle, do you know where the other one is?
No,
Yeah. I need you to give me a minute. Then
He doesn't know. He's got no
Lyle
idea.
said, "Get off my back,
He
Brock."
has no clue
He's
where
trying
around
to figure out a trash take,
Right.
not from 10 years ago.
He hadn't looked at the
Yes.
show sheet where it says around the NFL.
Brock doing a
here.
little trash talk before trash
Or
talk?
maybe even the tease I had before
Right.
break, where I was like, "Hey, coming up next, we're going to go around the NFL."
He doesn't listen. He doesn't
No,
listen.
and you know it's not helping him. Us talking in his ear right now while he's searching for it furiously, trying to figure out where that music is, and instead of just being able to concentrate, he's got us just absolutely, knocking around inside that maybe
Maura,
empty
can you
head.
play the sound and ask the question?
No, she can't possibly do all
I'll
that
sing
at the
it
same
while I
time.
talk.
Yeah.
All right, music or not more, we got to go around the NFL.
right.
We only have so much time.
Yeah, Brock touched on this, but I actually have the sound of Jerry Jones probably single-handedly raising the price of what it will take to extend edge rusher Micah Parsons yesterday when he said this from the spring meetings.
You should be worrying about your ability to make it work, and you should be worried about what the player does. Does he have good enough health? Does he have enough skill to do what you're paying him the money for? The agent is not a factor here or something to worry about, and I don't know his name. And so my point is that I'm not trying to demean him in any way, but this isn't about an agent. The agent doesn't have one thing to do with what we're doing when we get on a football field against a team. Micah does.
David Milageta represents Micah Parsons. He's one of the bigger agents in the NFL. I doubt that Jerry Jones doesn't even know his name. Cowboys reporter Clarence Hill Jr. posted, Jerry Jones with blatant disrespect to Micah Parsons' agent, David Milageta. The agent, he put the quote and then said, he's one of the most respected agents. Parsons is wise to have hired him. And Parsons responded, facts, David is the best, and I will not be doing any deal without him involved. Like anyone with good sense, I hired experts for a reason. There is no one I trust more when it comes to negotiating contracts than David, and there will be no back doors in this contract negotiation.
Do you think maybe Jerry doesn't know his name because he's too old?
It is a hard name. Tuku.
I'm just assuming you get to the point, Brock. You and I are both experiencing it as we're getting older. It's harder and harder to know and remember names. Jerry's much older than us. I'm going to assume it's, borderline, getting old. I'm just going to call it getting old.
It doesn't matter. Like Schneider was out here saying, I'm good friends with Geno Smith's agent, and we're going to be talking through this.
What does that sound?
That didn't work either, for the
Yeah,
record.
no, it didn't.
I mean, that didn't work for John. So I don't think any of this actually matters much, but Jerry runs his show in his own bizarre way.
Negligence. There's just no benefit to that. It's one of those.
You drew Micah Parsons' attention.
That's right. And Micah hired him, and your agent works for you, and yeah, they do play a role. Ask, a lot of guys some different stories. Ask Hasselbeck about his story. Ask, Damon when he was deciding between the Colts and the Patriots. I remember Mike Sullivan, his agent, do not answer the phone. They're going to try to call. They absolutely play a role, and the best of them usually get a little premium for their players. So yeah, not real wise there from Jerry. Come on, Jerry. Come on, Jerry. You better not, Jerry.
Well, I was going to play you some of the Tim Hasselbeck sound on his Shedeur Sanders comp, but you got into that earlier, which his was Andy Dalton and Kirk Cousins. Not exactly what you want for a first rounder. I'm not sure this is either. Mel Kiper gave his Shedeur Sanders comp.
Chad Pennington would probably be my comp for Shedeur. I love Chad coming out. I had him in the top 5 on the big board. He ended up going 18. That was the year the Jets had 4 first-round draft choices. He went 18 to the Jets. Ended up playing at Miami. Had a really good career. Okay, was he a Hall of Famer? No. But could you get to a Super Bowl with Chad Pennington? Yeah, you could have if you had a supporting cast around him. That's why Brady was a late 6th-round pick, because he didn't have great talent. Okay, didn't have the greatest arm. Ran 5.24, had a 24 vertical. Not athletic, no arm strength, no mobility. Greatest of all time. That's why I don't buy into this Shedeur, minimizing what Shedeur can be in the NFL.
There's a lot in there.
I think it was Pennington, by the way, when we had Hasselbeck on, and he was talking about his contract negotiation. Remember that? And it was like, Holmgren and the Seahawks tried to use Pennington, and you were like, ugh.
I feel like this is buy or sell Chad Pennington winning a Super Bowl.
Yes, I'll sell that. I'm you know me, Brock. Arm strength is.
He was a great player before his shoulder got totally wrecked, and even then, he still had unbelievable anticipation.
He was very accurate, good anticipatory player, but his arm strength was so weak.
Yes.
It was so bad.
Yeah.
That it didn't work. I mean, like, he couldn't throw. He threw the ball like a high school kid.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
but with unbelievable touch and accuracy and anticipation.
that stuff was pretty
and
good.
that's why he was pretty productive.
Also, I just hated Chad Pennington.
Why?
Always did.
Why?
Hated him.
Like, that is odd.
Could
Why?
not have hated a player.
Great dude.
Hated Chad
awesome
Pennington.
human.
I don't
How
care if he's
can
the
you
best human in the
hate
world.
Chad Pennington? How?
Sports hated him.
Oh,
Sports hated the heck out of Chad
Is this a
Pennington.
Patriots Jets thing?
Probably.
Okay.
Probably more
By the way,
about
Shedeur has
ourselves
his
than-
pro day Friday, so he did not do anything, and I was kind of wondering if he was ever going to perform. He didn't do anything at the NFL Combine, didn't do anything at the Big 12 Combine, and he and Travis Friday are going to put on a show for the whole country to see. NFL Network will be up there, and I will be curious. It'll be a big day for Shedeur. He can silence some of this if he runs 4.7, if he jumps 34 inches, if he does some of those things. I just looked at some, got an email of some props for Friday's Pro Day with Travis and Shedeur with those numbers. One of the prop bets is, will Deion Sanders bring up his 1989 40 time?
Probably.
I would say so. Yeah, I'd say probably a yes.
You know what? I don't know what's going to happen with Shedeur Sanders. Let me be clear. I have no idea. It might work out. It might not work out.
If he were there at 18, you want him?
I don't. I'm not ready to give you an answer on that question. That's not what I'm leading to here. I'm just going to say this today. I'm rooting for Shedeur Sanders. I'm rooting for it to work. I don't know if it's going to. The whole Hasselbeck the Andy Dalton, Kirk Cousins comp, and then Mel with Chad Pennington. I don't know whether
because he's willing to. He's kind of got some Cam Newton to him. He's willing to put himself out there.
Yeah,
he's willing
I'm kind of rooting for him, and I'm rooting for I like that he's not necessarily what he appears to be. That like what you think of when you hear the name Shedeur Sanders isn't necessarily who he is.
You hear his own song that he plays after touchdowns, or he does a little watch thing, or some of that. Yeah, But
like,
there's actually a lot more substance.
It's interesting that there's substance behind it.
Yep.
It's interesting that he's not like a great athlete, despite being Deion Sanders' kid.
Yep.
Like those things are. I don't know. I'm rooting for it to work, just to have another intriguing character in the NFL.
Something I shouldn't say, but I'm gonna say because this is why people tune in. How unathletic was Mom? For him not to be like seriously, like Dad is what did he run? 4.3?
You're the only person I know that thinks about like
multiple genetics.
the viability of
The only thing
producing
I'm the only
athletes
one
when
who thinks about gene killers. I'm the only one. Maybe.
360 says 100% Salk. I feel like everyone hated Chad Pennington. Literally can't think of one person I knew that liked him.
Because he kind of had the frat boy bangs before it became a thing.
253 wants to know if Pennington could throw the ball from third to first. I don't know. That's a good question. That was funny. Some Jerry Jones text coming in as well. Does Jerry know his own name at this point? It's a good question. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe that's where we're at. Probably shouldn't be running an NFL team, but that's just my opinion. Former Chargers GM Tom Telesco has been doing a little bit more radio. We heard from him earlier on the new kickoff change. He told Amber and Ian on ESPN Radio why quarterback-needy teams can't just plan on taking one next year.
You're always looking ahead a little bit. I mean, actually, next year's quarterback class could be really good. The quarterback at Penn State is a really good player, too, Drew Aller. And there are some quarterbacks next year, so I think you have your eye on it if you're a GM right now. But to be honest with you, there's just no way to predict how those players will play next year, number one, and number two, where you're actually going to be drafting. So it's easy to say that, hey, we'll pass on a quarterback this year because next year's class is better. But, who knows? Who knows where you're going to be? So I think I would have a hard time with the notion that we'll just draft one next year because you just don't know. It's too unpredictable.
Yeah, and I think, you have said before, Salk, then try to give yourself as much volume as you can draft capital-wise, right? To always keep some of that powder, to never then, try to reach and expose yourself to not having the kind of ammunition you may need down the road. I think there's some wisdom to that.
Yes. But also...
By the way, I'm going to just say this, too. I'm just going to tell you because I know you after 16 years.
Yeah.
And you maybe even watched a little bit. I don't think you're going to like the Penn State.
You know what? I did watch him a little bit. I was not impressed.
I know.
But I'm willing to give him another year.
Yep.
See what happens next year.
If you're the Giants and Shedeur Sanders is there, but you aren't quite sure you believe in him, do you take him?
You should take him just to put him in a quarterback room with Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston. I mean, the rest of us need to see that.
Wow.
That's a must. That's an A+ must happen.
Of all the guys you could list off for the 2026 draft, you go Drew Aller. I don't think he's good.
Bro,
at
he
all.
almost came out this year. Remember Daniel Jeremiah was saying, hey, I got
know.
to study him. Because
I know.
You know,
So
you know
he
why.
can
'Cause
run a
he's-
little bit, right?
No, he's 6'6".
Oh.
He's 235. He's got a good arm, a plus arm. He's a decent athlete. He's not a great athlete by any means, but he's just got those plus size traits.
So he's Paxton Lynch?
No. It's
That's
Paxton
not
Lynch.
fair.
Paxton Lynch was a duck-footed, didn't like football, loved video games, not even close. When I saw Paxton Lynch walking like a duck at the combine, I'm like, done. Can't draft him. Not going to work.
I'd be looking at like Lenora Sellers from South Carolina or Arch Manning if he comes out.
I mean, Arch Manning, Nico at Tennessee.
Nico,
yep.
yeah.
But, you're talking about kids with plus traits. And that is where Friday at Shadour's Combine will be really fascinating to see if there's kind of plus traits. That ball come out in a way that didn't necessarily on tape. That ball, can he jump? Can he run? What's the size? Is there something plus? If there is anything plus sticky to him on Friday, he will be drafted in the top 10. And I'd be really curious about our friend down there in Vegas because there's a lot of Geno Smith to his game as well. A lot of accuracy, a lot of anticipation, throws a beautiful ball. That will be fascinating to watch as well.
360 says, we used to joke about Pennington having his family held hostage, and the only way he could save them was if he could throw the ball 30 yards downfield.
I told you my Brad Johnson story, right? Because there's some comp there. Remember Brad's
yes.
arm at the end?
Yes.
My buddy Jeremy Urban, who was in camp, and they were running like one-on-ones, and he said to Urban, like, hey, just want to tell you, you can do all you want to do on this go route. The ball is not going to be further than 36 yards. So I would advise you to run your route in such a manner, because if you're trying to show off and you put on a sprint and you're by the ball, like, good for you.
I love that.
But the ball will be 36 yards, so do what you can do on your route to make sure you're there when it arrives.
You want to be there at 36.
Uh-huh.
That's where it's going to be.
It ain't going any further or any faster or any farther at this point. It's going to be there.
How freaking good was that team to win a Super Bowl with him?
Yep.
I mean, that's unbelievable.
Yep.
It
He's
really
a tough
is.
sucker, though, man.
Very tough. But, I mean, Trent Dilfer is the other guy who gets put into that category.
Yep.
Trent Dilfer is a better quarterback than Brad Johnson.
Trent was a sneaky good athlete, and so
Right.
was Brad when they were younger. The latter stages when they were pretty beat up, the velo was
Some
gone.
stories that came out afterwards that like the Raiders players were saying that Callahan came in and still used some of the same signal
yeah.
calls as Gruden and everything, so
Yeah.
they knew what was coming.
But that team was good leading up to just
Oh,
the
yeah.
Super Bowl. I mean, their defense was insane.
Yeah.
Yep.
Really, really good. But yeah, they blew their doors off in that Super Bowl. All right, good trip around the NFL. Thank you, Maura. Thank
Still
you,
don't
thank you,
have a
Lyle.
Trashmaster hat, so disappointing.
I know. Well, it's fine. One day, somebody will build me a hat. And
Maybe I'll just go to Lids at the mall today.
Oh, you're gonna get it
Find
all
a way
made
to get
for
one
me?
stitched.
I started looking it up. It ended
What
up being
size
more
are you? 8 and a
I
quarter?
don't know. I don't know what size I am.
7 3/8. You got a big head or small head?
I don't know.
You really don't know?
I literally have no idea.
When you put a ball cap on and you snap the little things on the back, how many of them do you have to snap?
Depends on the size of the hat,
Oh.
but I would say usually it's like one bigger than even.
Okay. All right. So that's on the smaller side.
Is
okay.
it?
Yeah.
Like
Good for
one, usually like one, sometimes,
dot, yeah.
sometimes two bigger than even.
Okay.
But never less than even.
Gotcha.
Okay. Does that help?
That does help.
Does that help you at all?
Thank you.
Oh my gosh. Let's hear your trash takes this week.
Get it together. Don't look like trash.
Trash takes
It's a bunch of trash.
Oh, gosh. I thought it was trash.
on Brock and Salk.
That's a terrible take.
All right. So last week, Lyle redeemed himself by winning trash takes. He hadn't won in forever. He'd really, and it wasn't just that he wasn't winning. He was coming up with stuff that wasn't even trash or nor a take. It was bizarre. He really tried to take over the segment in his own way, but he redeemed himself. Tremendous job last week. So Lyle,
What was
why
his
don't?
take last week, Salk? Do you even remember?
No. What was it?
He was Tanner Allen, the failed minor leaguer,
That was
saying
ridiculous.
get nerds out of baseball.
That was ridiculous.
That's a tremendous take, but you don't even remember it.
I don't remember what
You
any
remember
of the three
mine.
you had. I
Yeah.
remember you had something
Yeah.
where you didn't understand what the person was saying and ascribed thoughts to them that they
would
didn't
be
have.
Cam Newton saying Caitlin Clark's not even as
Yeah,
good
you
a
were
play.
just all
Yeah.
wrong on that.
Yeah, whatever.
All right. Well, Lyle, you get to go first this week. What is your trash take?
So you guys probably saw that Jerks and Profar got suspended for PEDs
Yes.
this week. They were talking about it on Foul Territory, and Eric Kratz, who usually I really like, had some interesting ideas for what new punishment should be for PED users.
They should start hitting you where it hurt. All that stuff, your awards should be stripped away. Why all of a sudden do we just let this slide under the rug? Jerkson Profar's still going to get his money. Minus 80 games, he still gets his contract. There's more than just it affecting the game and the outcome and the Braves now because he led them astray saying that, oh, this was actually me. I just changed my lower half. You went and worked on your lower half with Fernando Tatis and his dad.
Wow.
I mean, what do you mean take awards away? You're going to strip Barry Bonds of his 7 MVPs? No, you're not. The whole PED thing, I think, is so overblown, and it's been overblown forever. I think Barry Bonds should be in the Hall of Fame. I think a bunch of those guys should be in the Hall of Fame. So, no, you're not stripping awards away.
So it's called Lyle's takes or trash takes? I'm trying to figure it out.
He's arguing with the take.
Is he? Okay.
Yeah.
I'll tell you the stupidest thing.
Don't get on Lyle for giving a take. Usually he doesn't know what to think, so I'm excited when he's giving a take.
The dumbest part about that take is he does not make money for 80. Half his salary is gone. He still gets paid minus 80. Yeah, half his salary.
Right. So there's punishments faced. That's what's crazy. Punishments are faced, and you're already judged differently for the Hall of Fame.
That's right.
You win
and for the rest of his life, he's going to have an asterisk by wondering, was this late career surge because he was cheating?
Barry Bonds didn't win all those MVPs just from a needle. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Lyle, PEDs. I like it.
Okay.
Brock, what do you got this week?
This is kind of a reverse jinx. Because this is going to get Julio going, for crying out loud, please. Started my show with Julio. I'm ending with Julio, and these were some jerks down in, I don't even know where they are. Are they in Oakland, Sacramento, Vegas? Who knows? They're in that shed outside of their stadium talking this kind of noise about Julio.
One swing, he could change the whole complexity, and that's what superstars do. And in my humble opinion, and I know
he's a superstar.
He is on his way. What? You don't become a superstar, Hall of Famer, All-Star in 1 year.
So you're telling me a guy hits a hanger and he's still hitting a buck something, and he had a bad year last year, and you got him to be in the superstar, huh?
Well, we might as well run you out on the bump and let you pitch the next time against Julio. I mean, if you don't have no respect.
I know he got a big contract. I know they gave him a big contract. And I think some people in Seattle may be regretting that they gave him that big contract. I don't know if I'm ready to call him a superstar yet. I don't know if I can go back to last year. Wasn't that great?
Oh, my gosh, Townie.
He hits one pitch and you're putting him in the Hall of Fame.
He's had one off year. Now you're ready to
how many years is he on the big leagues?
By the way, since Brock didn't know, it's Chris Townsend on NBC Sports Bay Area.
Okay.
Throwing some shade on Julio. Not a superstar. Are you kidding me? Not a superstar. Bad contract. They want it back. Woo. Some smoke at Julio.
All right. That's number 2. Maura, what do you got for us this week?
Well, I would love to make Woody Johnson's take on why he got an F in the NFLPA meeting mine, but we've already gone over that, so I want to throw in something else that he said, but there's no sound of him talking from the owners' meeting, so I'll let Mark Schlereth, Craig Carton, and Danny Parkins from Breakfast Ball explain it.
I think Justin Fields is going to be a total winner for us. That's good. I've been impressed with him since his college days. It was he or Trevor Lawrence, and I think he is going to be really good. That's why we took Zach Wilson, right? So, I mean, it's the quote of the year. That is.
So Woody Johnson said it was between Justin Fields and Trevor Lawrence. I've liked him since but they took Zach Wilson.
Oh my God, that's hysterical.
So, that's
that's
take.
so funny.
That's a funny.
Well, obviously that wins. I mean, it's not even close. That definitely wins, and it's not. I mean,
I've loved him since college. We just, didn't draft him when we had the chance.
Good job,
I had not heard that yet. Honestly, I usually go through each of the 3 in order to, but no offense to either of the other 2. You both made good arguments. This was not a case where somebody screwed up, but come on.
Yep.
Both of you would agree. That's insane.
Yeah, that's trashy.
That's the trashiest take you're going to hear.
Yeah, Maura wins.
Sorry, I think we can all agree Maura wins.
Come on.
As for the other 2, the one thing I will, Lyle, I'm with you. That's a dumb argument. And I'm kind of, I think Bond should be in the Hall of Fame and all of that. But should you be able to void a contract if somebody tests positive for PEDs?
No, because
I think you should.
Yeah, I think you should too.
Now, I'll argue both sides of this. On one hand, I think you should. That's ridiculous. If you've got a 10-year deal, yeah, you're right. He's going to lose half a season's worth of salary, but that money's all guaranteed. I don't know. That doesn't feel right to me. You should have the option of
How is there not a
that.
clause in those contracts?
You would think there would be, but I'm sure the union is arguing against
It's one
it.
of those, like, dude, it's detrimental to the organization.
I'm
you bring
sure
shame upon the organization.
I'm sure the union has found a way to make sure that's airtight.
Yeah.
The flip side of it, though, is I also think that teams should be punished for it a little bit, too. Like, yeah, well, now you're stuck with this guy. You signed him, knew that this was a possibility, and, like, yeah, you're going to have to pay out the rest of his contract, even if he's not as good as he was when he was on roids. So I'm a little torn on that one. Ultimately, bad take. You're right. But not as bad as Woody Johnson's. Brock, I think you would have come in second place today. But, yeah, there's this conversation about whether Julio's a superstar. But to torch the guy, despite his bad year last year, he still was worth 4.3 wins, Baseball Reference. 5.5 the year before, 6.2 the year before that. Like, okay, you could quibble over the word superstar, but he's still a star. I mean, those are still excellent numbers. He's still one of the more talented players in the game. There's no reason to torch Julio like that. That's just wrong. Yeah. That's just flat wrong.
That's messed up.
That's messed up.
He's going to take Scooble deep today. He's going to go 3 for 4. He's going to be the catalyst for the Mariners finding a way to salvage a win, be 3-4, go on the road.
That'd be nice.
Not get swept, not be 2-5, not have another rough opening homestand. Yeah, Julio and crew are going to get it done today, Salky.
Does everybody else know their hat size? Is that something I should know? I don't wear fitted hats. How would I know that?
Is the text toy weighing in on that or something?
Well, one person said, Salk, wait, you don't know what size head you have.
Right.
I've never heard of a guy over the age of 6 say that they don't know what size hat they have.
As a baseball guy, it is a little surprising. As a baseball guy. I think most baseball guys know.
We had snapback hats and we had snaps.
I know. You came from the mean streets. Couldn't possibly afford.
PVN didn't have nice uniforms. What, are you kidding me? Yeah. I've told you about the uniforms we wore. They were straight out of like the Larry Bird era 80s. They were like 2-inch shorts.
Lyle, what's your hat size?
7 1/4, I want to say.
Oh.
I haven't worn a fitted hat in a long time, so yeah.
I'm not Fred Durst. I don't know what size of fitted hat I wear.
You know what? Maybe
that reference is too old for Lyle.
No, maybe I'm 7 3/8. I think that's what I was.
How about Bochy? What was his? 8 9/8 or something?
I think it's hard to figure that. Big hat, big head. All right, we got to go. DJ, 7:30 a.m. tomorrow. We'll have Shannon on the show tomorrow. A bunch of other stuff. Hopefully the Mariners win today and salvage. Don't get swept. We'll be back at 6. Bump and Stacy coming up next. I think from the ballpark. How about that?
Nice.
Stick around for them and the Hey
Barn.
See you, everybody.
Oh, Barn.
Get to the chopper!
Seattle Sports, your home for Bump and Stacy. Weekdays 10 to 2.
Abe Luke is going to be the most important player on this offense. Why? Because when he is available and he is playing, him and Charles Cross are going to hold it down. It's all about keeping the band together. And the band has been split up a lot over the past couple of years, right? We saw rookies play tackle. We saw rookies play guard. But when Abe and Charles Cross are playing together, those bookends hold it down. It's Abe Lucas, man.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
For over 113 years, Pacific Lamp and Supply Company has been your #1 lighting specialist in Washington, from the Space Needle in Seattle all the way to the Riverwalk in Spokane. With the largest lighting inventory in Washington, Pacific Lamp's knowledgeable and experienced staff can assist with any lighting issue, including intricate lighting and control designs. Plus, they work with all utilities in Washington to get you the best available lighting rebates. Pacific Lamp and Supply Company, Washington's lighting experts since 1912. Visit pacificlamp.com.
Home Comfort Alliance has been making homes comfortable since 1977. Call the comfort people at Home Comfort Alliance for all your heating, cooling, plumbing, or electrical needs. Visit homecomfortalliance.com and tell them John Curley sent you. homecomfortalliance.com.
Did you know that your windows and doors are your main source of energy loss? At Lake Washington Windows and Doors, our windows with triple weather stripping and gasket seals are up to 25% more efficient than Energy Star standards. LakeWashingtonWindows.com, a name you can trust.
At Uline, the prevailing opinion is, if you don't live it, you don't believe it. The people at Uline believe in hard work, and they live it. by being there 24/7 to answer your call, having 41,000 items in stock, and offering same-day shipping from 12 locations across North America. Business owners, sellers, buyers, shippers, and packers believe it. Uline is the hard-working, dependable source for your shipping and industrial supplies. Visit uline.com.
Your new beginning starts now. D.R. Horton has new construction homes available throughout the greater Seattle area. With spacious floor plans, flexible living spaces, and home technology packages, you can enjoy more cozy moments and sweet memories in your beautiful new home. With new home communities opening throughout the Seattle area, D.R. Horton has the ideal home for you. Visit drhorton.com to learn more. D.R. Horton, America's builder, an equal housing opportunity builder.
Still haven't filed your taxes? You're not alone. Certified public accountant and Intuit TurboTax expert Lisa Green-Lewis shares why you should file now.
You may be delaying your filing due to confusion around IRS layoffs and uncertainty around new tax proposals. These will not impact your 2024 taxes you're filing now. The IRS will maintain essential operations throughout tax season, so don't wait to get your refund.
Need help? With TurboTax, you can easily and accurately file on your own. Or if you'd rather leave it to the pros, TurboTax Live full-service experts are available to handle everything from start to finish.
TurboTax provides a fast and stress-free experience and will help you file your taxes with 100% accuracy guaranteed, whether you want to file yourself or have a tax expert prepare and file your taxes for you. Thousands of TurboTax Live experts are available now to do your taxes virtually or in person.
File today at TurboTax.com. Fast, easy, and stress-free.
Will new tariffs impact small businesses? Rising costs and economic uncertainty can hurt your bottom line. But with Swish Funding, your business can stay strong. We offer fast, flexible funding solutions from $10,000 to $2 million for working capital, cash flow, and more. And as little as 24 hours with no collateral needed. If your business earns at least $50,000 per month and has been around for over a year, you could qualify today. Go to swishradio.com and use code GROW. Swishradio.com, code GROW.
Did you know your skin is the largest organ of your body? Huh? That's why you should shower with Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash instead of plain old bar soap. Love your skin by super hydrating it with vitamin B3 and glorious notes of vanilla and shea. Did you know that my super hydrated skin is the second largest organ of my body? The first is my heart. Old Spice. Men have skin too. Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash. 24/7 renewing moisture. With daily use.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation and a regular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduced stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop taking prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. It may increase your stroke risk. Eliquis can cause serious and in rare cases fatal bleeding. Don't take Eliquis if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or take longer for bleeding to stop. A spinal injection while on Eliquis increases risk of blood clots, which may cause paralysis, the inability to move. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding, unusual bruising, or tingling, numbness, or muscle weakness. Medications such as aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners may increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about all planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.